Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. We have double Game Week 32, followed by double Game Week 33, and then blank Game Week 34. So 3 weeks in a row where we don't have... Why does my voice sound like it's going already? That's not good. 3 weeks in a row where we don't have a normal... If I lose my voice after 5 minutes, I can only apologise. Not that I've been talking a lot recently, but there we are. I also look very tired, but I woke up like 2 hours ago. So, listen, this isn't the best start to a stream, I will admit that. But thank you very much for being here. Let me know... I don't even drink alcohol either, so no. I was actually asleep before midnight. I can actually show you my sleep. Let me show you my sleep. What a wonderful way to start the stream. I got a lot of deep sleep as well. Where's my sleep? I got almost 7 hours. It's not great. There you go. I've got 6 hours, 38 minutes. Look at all of that deep sleep. 2.5 hours of deep sleep. Not much REM. My REM was not good. But that's okay. Not a bad sleep. Look, asleep before midnight. 2 minutes before midnight, but still before midnight. So yeah, I don't know why. Oh, that's really, really done my lighting in there. Oh no, my green screen's unhappy and everything now. Oh no. Let's wave up here to get the light. There you go. So yeah, I don't know why I look so tired and hungover, but there we go. Is it your watch? I've not got my Fitbit, my Whoop on, but yeah, I wear a Whoop. I can take it off charge in a second, but yeah, that's how I track my sleep. Listen, they're not fantastic for tracking sleep. Like, there's loads of studies to say they're not that accurate, but I like at least tracking my sleep a little bit. It just encourages me to be a bit more mindful about when I'm sleeping. I'm not really in the middle of the screen. Anyway, right, team. Now I'll go this way. Team is a state, all right? It's not looking good, Brev. 10 of my starting 11... 10 of my starting 11 is great, right? Triple Palace, Munoz, Sarr, Mateta, great. Triple Newcastle, Burn, Murphy, Isak, great. I think Raya is absolutely fine as a goalkeeper. Not that I expect a clean sheet, but that's okay. I think Gvardiol and Marmoush, yes, they're playing against Munoz, Sarr, and Mateta, so there's a bit of a clash there. But they're not bad assets at all to have this week, especially playing at home. And then Mohamed Salah is Mohamed Salah. Despite not scoring an open play goal in 7 games in all competitions, we know that Salah is still fantastic. The issue that I've got right now is if I don't make a transfer, I need to start one of Saka, Foden, or Konsa. That's why it's not looking good, Brev, because Saka, I just don't see him being risked with Real Madrid's second leg coming up. Foden, we actually got news last night in the embargoed quote. So if you're wondering why Foden suddenly flagged, in the embargoed section of the press conference, which is part of the press conference that is held and we don't get the news until later that evening, Pep Guardiola said that Foden is a doubt due to his injury against Manchester United. So confirmed that he did pick up an injury and said that he's a doubt. I already thought he was a bit of a risk. Now he's a super big risk, right? Because he's also a doubt. So I just don't see Foden starting, but we might get early team news. I think Ezri Konsa of the 3 is the most likely to start. But I don't know how confident I am in that. So I've got a decision, basically. I don't think I'll be starting Foden now, unless we get a leaky start. So start Saka, start Konsa, or my third option is to sell Gabriel to Bradley. And I really think Connor Bradley's a good pick for the next couple of weeks. Is sell Gabriel to Bradley and then start a 4-3-3 with Foden and Saka and Konsa on the bench. Another option, which I'm less keen on, is just selling Foden, cutting my losses with Foden. And I can do something like Foden to Asensio and then start a 3-4-3. So bench Saka, Konsa and Gabriel. It's spicy, but then I don't think Asensio is a great pick for double game week 33 because I think he probably only starts 1. So there we go. That's the situation we are facing as things stand. And now my computer wants to start lagging nice and early. Thanks, computer. We just deal with it. By the way, I'm in the process of sorting out a property to move into this summer with Pickle. Rented, by the way. But it's got 1 gigabyte internet and I'm buying a new computer as well. So we'll have a new computer and very high-speed internet. So the streams next season, just you wait for those streams next season. They are going to be the best of the best. I'm also working on a better streaming overlay as well with loads of fancy graphics. Basically, Just you wait. Kieran with the super chat. Thank you very much. Kieran says, need my help. My wild card has gone, and I can't use that word on the stream because we try to be as family friendly as possible, but it's not very good. Raya Gvardiol, Saliba, Munoz, Konsa, Burn, Saka, Salah, Gordon, Savino, Sarr, and my usual front, the usual front three. Yeah, okay. Gordon, Saka, Savino were my punts, and none of them can get on the pitch. One free transfer. I don't think Savino is an issue. I think Saka and Gordon both are. I don't expect either of them to start at least the first game for Gordon. I wouldn't expect Saka to start here. So, is it a massive issue? No, because I think Saka's good for 33, so you wouldn't want to sell him. I think Savino is absolutely fine. I think Savino will start. Gordon's a tricky one, right? Because beyond this double, Gordon's not much use to you unless you're not free hitting 34. I think Gordon to Murphy isn't a bad transfer, Kieran, and then I would probably bench Saka and keep Savino in the starting 11. That would be what I would do, and then you've used a one free transfer. I don't think it's as bad as you're suggesting. The rest of your players look pretty decent, but yeah, I would sell Gordon, bench Saka, start Savino if you can afford to do that. The Scan Legend says, have Rodgers, Saka and Gabriel. Should I sell Gabriel to Diaz or Bradley, or maybe start Rodgers? I don't hate starting Rodgers because you never know. Like, Rodgers does often start when we don't think he'll start. But I think Gabriel to Bradley is a nice transfer. It's one that I'm heavily considering myself. Saka Potatoes has become a Rap Tier 2 member. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. What a cool name. I respect it. By the way, it's like Saka, like Bukayo Saka. Saka Potatoes. Scott with the super chat says, good morning. I've wildcarded with a plan to bench boost next week. Fantastic. My team is Martinez, Livramento, Gvardiol, Munoz, Murphy, Salah, Rodgers, Sarr, Isak, Marmoush, Mateta. Bench is Raya, Saliba, Saka, Konsa. Any advice, please? That's an outstanding team, Scott. My concern is that you've got Rodgers in the starting 11, and I'm not that confident that he starts this week. But I suppose it's only one player, and if you're bench boosting next week, you're going to want Rodgers as part of that bench boost, so I can understand it. That would be my only small concern, is that I think that Rodgers is a doubt to start. But other than that, Scott, it's like a 10 out of 10 wildcard. You're able to fix a lot of the issues and mistakes that a lot of us made on the Gameweek 30 wildcard. Vsor GG says, hello, sir. By the way, chat, is my sound still coming through absolutely fine despite a bit of lag? I'll carry on talking if my sound's fine. It normally clears up after like 10, 15 minutes of being a little bit annoying. It just, the audio's telling me that it's fine, which is the main thing. You can just put me on in the background and listen. Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Shazam. I appreciate it. Cool. Yeah, it normally does clear up. Like, right now, it seems fine. So hopefully it just stays that way. Yeah, just a little bit lag. Yeah, Foden flag. So yeah, just for those that are joining right now, by the way, please do smash that like button nice and early. It really does support the stream. And make sure to subscribe as well. But if you are just joining, last night we got embargoed quotes that Foden is a doubt due to the injury that he picked up against Manchester United. So we were questioning, was it an injury or was it just that he came off early? Pep Guardiola suggested that it was an injury. And obviously, as a result, there's a real doubt as to whether he starts. And I just think as a result, I wouldn't expect him to be in the starting 11. I think he was already a doubt to start. But if he's a doubt due to injury as well. Vsor GG says, hello, Sir Egg. Hello. Do I triple captain Isak or bench boost? I've got Flecken, Livramento, Munoz, Gvardiol, Kirkes, Mo, Sarr, Murphy, Mateta, Isak, Marmoush starting. And my bench is Sells, Saka, 8 Nuri, Savino, subs. Oh, that's a really tough one. Oh, that's right on the borderline because your goalkeepers are better for this week. But your bench boost wouldn't look awful next week, would it? I think that's more of a bench boost this week. Yeah, I think that looks marginally more of a bench boost this week, Vsor. But then Saka as part of it, I'm not that confident that he could get no minutes. I think I would bench boost that this week, mate, and triple captain next week. But I think it's very, very close. I think you could lean either way on that one. Dan Taylor says, Ross, happy Saturday, mate. Thank you very much, Dan. You too. Bench one of Martinez, Gvardiol, Williams, and Saka. Good for the bench boost. Bench one of Martinez, Gvardiol, Williams, and Saka. I'm confused. Oh, bench of. Sorry, I don't know where I read one from. I'm just completely misreading your super chat. You typed it perfectly. Anyway, Martinez, Gvardiol, Williams, Saka. Yeah, in that situation, even if Saka doesn't play any minutes, like Martinez, Gvardiol, and Williams are three excellent players for a bench boost. This is what I kind of said in yesterday's deadline decisions video. If you have a bench boost where three of the players are excellent, your starting 11 looks good, and just one of the players is a doubt for minutes, I think it's absolutely fine to play it. So yeah, I look at that, Dan, and I think that's a fine bench boost. And listen, Saka could still start. A few Arsenal fans have messaged me saying, Ross, I think Saka probably gets 60 minutes. I don't. But then I've called these minutes very wrong recently, so you just don't know. Shazam says, good morning, mate. Just wanted to say your streams were awesome this week and FPL Therapy was the best yet. Thank you very much, Shazam. Well done. I read well done, not well done to you. You said well done. Dilemma for me this week, Raya or Sells in goal. Good luck. Oh, chat, what do we think for Shazam there? Raya or Sells in goal? Let us know in the chat who you'd start there. I think I'd go Sells. Yeah, I think I would go Sells, Shazam. Sells seems the more likely to keep a clean sheet in my mind. Everton aren't... They've dropped off a little bit, right? They went flying out the blocks under Moyes, but their attacking data, Beto struggling a little bit. I think I'd go Sells. And Sells always makes a lot of saves as well. Like, Raya very rarely makes saves. Yeah, I'd start Sells, Shazam, and thank you as always for the support. You're too kind. Cool. Right, Lewis says, Savinho to Asensio this week. No, I like Savinho. Have 9 doublers for 33 bench boost or roll and bring in Rodgers next week, 10 doublers. I like Savinho, Lewis. I mean, I do like Asensio as well, but I think Savinho's fine. I think he'll start. 9 doublers for 33 or roll and bring in Rodgers next. I would roll and bring in Rodgers next week, but also I wouldn't sell Savinho for Rodgers next week. I'd keep Savinho. He's got a double himself. I think Savinho is a great option. I know, obviously, minutes haven't been as secure as you'd want, but that's what you get with a Man City attacker. I don't necessarily think that Asensio's minutes are any more secure than Savinho's. Ivan says, hi Ross, bench 2, Munoz, Gvardiol, Burn, Konsa, Sarr, Saka, Salah, Murphy, Asensio, triple captain Isak. I would bench... Well, you can't bench Munoz, Burn, Sarr, Murphy. You're not going to bench Salah, Asensio. I would probably bench Saka and Konsa, because they are the two most likely to be benched themselves. So yeah, I'd go Saka and Konsa there, Ivan. Toby Wilson says, would you have bench boosted this week with Martinez, Saliba, Milenkovic and Rodgers, or next week with Martinez, Livramento, Milenkovic and Murphy? I'd bench boost this week and just hope that Rodgers gets minutes. Yeah, that's a much better bench boost this week, Toby. Unless, like, you think Rodgers gets 0 minutes, but I think Rodgers could always come off the bench, and he could start, by the way. Like, we don't know that Rodgers doesn't start. It just feels like a very good week to put him on the bench for Emery to rest him. But he might not need rest. Bench boost with Areola on the bench. I don't love that. Like, you are really sacrificing that position. I would triple captain Isak and bench boost next week, Jickety. The Scan Legend says, my thinking would be Gabriel to Diaz this week, and then Livramento to Bradley, and Murphy to Isak to someone else, bench boost 33, free hit 34. Yeah, I don't mind that, actually. And Diaz should be starting. My only concern is I suppose they could play Kusanov and Gvardiol, but I think as soon as Kusanov comes back into the starting 11, Gvardiol will shift to left back. So I think Ruben Diaz is probably quite safe for minutes. I don't mind that. I think that's a good plan, Scan Legend. Mike Shue says, hi Ross. Hi Mike. Start 2 of the following. Palmer, Salah, Savinho. Thanks. Have a great weekend. You have a great weekend too. As much as I do like Savinho, you start Palmer and Salah there. Absolutely. Sell either Enzo or Elanga this week. Oh, that's a tough one. Elanga's just a better option, but Enzo's got a great fixture. I would probably keep the pair of them, unless you're looking to sell them for a Crystal Palace or Newcastle mid. If you were to force me to sell one, I would think a little bit longer term, and I would sell Enzo and keep Elanga. But I do think Enzo against Ipswich is a great option. Callum Allen says, hi Ross, bit stuck on bench boost 32 or 33. Yeah, a lot of people in that position. Okay. So your team, Martinez, Munoz, Gvardiol, Livramento, Eze, Rodgers, Murphy, Salah, Marmoush, Mateta, Isak. Bench of Edison, Saliba, Gabriel, Saka. For me, I would roll the transfer and I'd bench boost next week quite comfortably. Quite comfortably. Because a lot of your players here have doubles in 33. Like Edison, Saliba, Gabriel, Saka all double. I know they'd then come into your 11, but Martinez would drop to the bench. Livramento would drop to the bench. Murphy would drop to the bench. And probably Isak. But then you'll have 3 free transfers to sell those assets. I just think that looks like a better bench boost 33 for me, Callum. But if you feel good playing it this week, you could potentially go for it. FPL Vert says, team is Martinez, Burn, Milenkovic, Munoz, Rashford, Sarr, Salah Murphy, Isak, Mateta, Marmoush. My bench is Raya, Saliba, Saka. Start Rashford or Saliba and Raya or Martinez. I would be tempted to start Saliba ahead of Rashford because I don't think Rashford starts, but I do think Rashford has a good chance of starting. Like, I don't think he will, but it's not one of those where I'm like, he's never going to start. I just think it will be probably Ramsey and Watkins in the positions he can play. I feel like if you start Saliba, maybe start Martinez to just spread the risk a little bit. If you're starting Rashi, then maybe you start Raya. If that was my team, I would probably start Saliba and Martinez, but that's a very close call, FPL Vert. Jason F says, hi Ross, hope you've had a good week. I have, thanks actually, Jason. It's been a bit busy, but I've had a good one. Hope you have as well. Saving bench boost for 33. Who would you start this week? Rodgers, Mbeumo, Elanga. Worried if start Rodgers, Elanga, they might get limited minutes, but if they look good for points over Mbeumo if they start, I would probably say Elanga, Mbeumo, Rodgers. I think Elanga will start for what it's worth. I've got no reason to think that. I've got a feeling that Elanga will. It didn't look serious. He's very important to that Nottingham Forest team. They need to win this game. I would go Elanga, Mbeumo, Rodgers in that order. I'm really sorry, by the way, if Rodgers starts and a lot of you have benched him. I don't know that Rodgers is on the bench. It's just, like I say, they've got 8 games in 24 days. They've got a game every 3 days for 8 games in a row. There are so many critical games coming up against Newcastle, City, Crystal Palace, obviously the second leg against PSG. If they are going to rest Rodgers, and maybe they don't, this has to be the game that they do it. So it just makes sense for Rodgers to not start. But we don't know that, as I said. Khan says, should I go for Glasner or a better manager? If Glasner, who should I let go out of Munoz, Sarr, Mateta? My 2 other issues, I have Gabriel and Kluivert and Saka, 2 free transfers, 1.4 in the bank, 1 free transfer would be for the manager. I would go Glasner unless you've got a third Newcastle spot free, in which case I would go for Eddie Howe. But assuming that you don't have a spare Newcastle or Palace slot free, I would sell one of your Palace players and go for Glasner. I would probably sell Munoz of the 3 because I don't see any clean sheets, and I think therefore I'd want to keep the 2 attackers. Gabriel, Kluivert, Saka. I think I would probably bench. I'd probably bench Kluivert and Saka and sell Gabriel because Kluivert and Saka could be fine for 33. Gabriel's out for the season. I would address your biggest issue. So sell Munoz, get Glasner, and then I would probably look to sell Gabriel for Bradley, is what I'm looking at. Luke says, hey Ross, cheers for all of the advice and FPL therapy. You are more than welcome, Luke. Thanks for the support every week. 10k rank, fair play. Isak triple captain, bench headache, Raya or Martinez, and Gvardiol or Kirkes. Also Saka on my bench. Saka on your bench I think is absolutely fine. I will probably end up benching Saka myself. Raya or Martinez, I think is very close. I think if I had a Saliba as well, I'd probably go Martinez. I think in isolation, I think Raya probably has, if you look at the clean sheet odds, a marginally better chance for a clean sheet because Arsenal are a better defence and it's at home. Southampton have scored in 8 of their last 10 Premier League games, by the way. They aren't a team that just don't score goals. I would say probably if that was me, Raya and Gvardiol is the 2 that I would start there. But again, that's very close, my friend. Izzy Gaming, been a member for 4 months. Thank you very much, my man. I appreciate it. Michael Wolfit says, who would you start? Wood, Saka, Van Dijk or Gvardiol? Well, you got to start 1 there, Michael. Probably Gvardiol. Mr. Meerkat Monster says, good morning, mate. Good morning. I'm stuck on whether to bench boost this week or next week. A lot of people in that position. My 11 is... Okay, I'm looking at your 11 now, Mr. Meerkat Monster. The bench... So if your bench for this week is Raya, Savinho, Konsa, and you'd need to sell Gabriel. Next week... Depends how many free transfers you've got. If you've got 2 plus free transfers already... I think it is a very good bench boost 33. If you have 1 free transfer, I think I'd bench boost this week. Basically, I think it's a fine bench boost. Like Raya, Savinho, keep Konsa, sell Gabriel for anyone that you fancy this week and bench boost, like Milenkovic. Great. Really nice looking bench boost. But I also think if you've got, if you were going to end up having 3 free transfers for next week, you could sell Livramento, Murphy, Gabriel, and then have a bench boost of Your bench boost would be Emi Martinez, Konsa, Isak, and then Bradley or something like that. It will be very similar to mine. So I think you can lean either way with that. I think it depends how many free transfers you've got, basically. Chris J says, start 2 of Luka Dean, Saliba, Gvardiol, Saka, or Savinho. I'd start probably Saliba and Savinho, if that was my team, Chris. Victor says, good morning. Good morning. We got lucky last game week with Sarr versus Savinho. Okay. Did you? Last game week with Sarr versus Savinho. Sarr got 2. And Savinho didn't play, did he? Anyway, challenge for this game week is I have Martinez versus Raya and Saka versus Savinho. I have a big green arrow. Martinez, Raya, like for anyone in that position, like what have I done on these predictions here? I've got Arsenal winning 1-0 and I've got Villa winning... Where are Villa? Villa winning 3-1. So I think Raya is more likely to keep a clean sheet. So I'm going to say Raya there. Saka, Savinho, I just think Savinho is marginally more likely to start, so I would go Savinho. So Raya and Savinho in that case, Victor. Geo Law says, good morning, Ross. Great stream as per. Thank you very much. I got a benching headache this game week. Should I start Rodgers over Kirkes or Rodgers over Mbermo? I would just start Kirkes and Mbermo because I don't think that Rodgers starts. But if you want to risk it, I would prefer to start Rodgers over Kirkes. So I would start Mbermo and Rodgers. I always prefer to start attackers unless the defenders have cracking fixtures. MI says, I have 2 free transfers. Sell Gordon to Murphy or whom? Bench boost 33. Yeah, I think Gordon to Murphy looks good. Listen, Gordon could start both in the double. I don't know, but I just can't see that happening based on what we know right now. Marcus says, would you start Asensio or Gvardiol? Asensio. I have 3 Palace players, so it feels counterproductive to play Gvardiol. Also, Raya or Martinez. Raya and Asensio would be my 2 picks there. As always, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, can you do 2 things for me? We're less than 50 followers, subscribers away from 149,000. So please make sure to subscribe, but also make sure to drop a like. Currently, 2,100 of you watching right now haven't hit the like button. So if you're one of those 2,000 that hasn't liked, please do hit that like button. Appreciate the support. Bass says, hi, legend. Hello, Bass. Thank you for the support as always, my friend. Says, current team. Okay, I'm reading your team out in my mind. Kind of want to use the triple captain and Isak. Thoughts on that and the bench? Triple captain Isak, yes, absolutely. If I had the triple captain this week, which I don't, sadly, I would absolutely play it on Isak, unless you're bench boosting, of course. In terms of your bench, so your bench right now is Areola, Saka, Konsa, Gabriel. Is there anyone else I would drop to the bench instead? I think you've got it nailed on, mate, right? Obviously, Gabriel's injured. Areola's got Liverpool, and then Saka, Konsa are the 2 least likely to start in your team. Great team, perfect bench, triple captain Isak. Nice and simple, mate. Bench 1 of Gvardiol, Canate, Marino. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a very tough one. Because Marino, if he starts, I'd want him. I think he will start, but will he start as the 9 or in midfield? I'd probably bench Canate out of those 3. Luke says, do I triple captain Isak or bench boost? Bench of Sells, Savinho, Gvardiol, Milenkovic. I have Saka in the lineup. Yeah, so Saka would be on your bench then. So it'd be Sells, Saka, Gvardiol, Milenkovic. I tell you what, Luke, do you think Nottingham Forest keep a clean sheet? If you do, bench boost. If you don't, triple captain. I'll leave the ball in your court. I think that's a very good bench boost, though. I would be very tempted to bench boost that, personally. But yeah, it is borderline, right? Because you could easily bench boost next week, but I just think it's not going to look as good because you're going to have Sells and Milenkovic against Spurs. So I would probably bench boost it this week. Dan M says, good morning, Ross. If you still had triple captain, would you be on Isak this week? I've already answered that one. So yes, I would definitely triple captain Isak this week, assuming you're not bench boosting. Do you think Rashford starts both in the double? I think he 100% starts one. I'd have him at like 60% likelihood to start both, especially if he's benched this week. If he starts this week, then I'm less sure. But my instinct is, yes, he starts both. I think he starts one on the left, and I think he starts one as the 9, would be my guess. But I'm not feeling super confident on that. Are you planning on having a third Arsenal player this next week? Marino is tempting me. I think I'm going to own Kivior. I know that's really boring and very strange, but I'm bench boosting next week. I need to sell Gabriel and Burn. I think I'm going to sell Gabriel for Bradley this week. And next week, I think I'll sell Burn to Kivior. And it will just give me a little bit of a stronger defence. But if I'm unsure about Kivior's minutes, then I probably won't. I can't see myself buying Marino just because I want to buy Rodgers for Murphy and then I don't have another midfield transfer to make unless I sell Foden. So all of that to say, yes, Isak triple captain, maybe Rashford starts both, and I think I'll own Kivior. Mr. Nerdista says, hey Ross, hello. Top 90k, third in my mini league, 20 points behind number 2, and 36 points behind number 1. Okay, smashing it. Triple captain Isak or Mateta. Guy in first has no chips. If your guy in first has no chips, I would go Isak. Because even if he captains Isak, you're still gaining all those extra points. If you want to go super rogue and you want to catch up all of those points this week, obviously you could risk it with Mateta, but you might fall further behind. I think in your case, I would go triple captain Isak. Because you say play safe, but like I say, he's not getting those extra points. So if Isak scores 15, you're gaining 15 points on first place. Manager, if 3 Palace and 3 Newcastle players. I still think Glasner, and I would sell Munoz. Why aren't you using triple captain or bench boost? I've already used the triple captain, and I'm bench boosting in 33. Izzy says, my little scallop, what should I do with Gordon? Do I pivot to Murphy or start him or play Saka? I'd pivot to Murphy. I'd pivot to Murphy personally. I just don't see Gordon starting both, and I think Murphy could go pretty big in this double. In fact, Gordon could even start neither. Like, the thing is, even once Gordon's fully fit, which it sounds like he's not, Barnes has been playing so well that Gordon doesn't just waltz back into the lineup. So I don't think I'd take that risk. I think I'll just go for Jacob Murphy. Timbo Sly says, I have Saka and Rodgers. Okay, bench boost is Sells, Rodgers, Gvardiol, Milenkovic. Do I just bench boost anyway, despite 2 minutes risk? Future benches don't look amazing. I don't love that because, like, I don't expect either to start. So it's 2 players that, like, if you put Saka and Rodgers on your bench is then Sells, Rodgers, Saka, Gvardiol. Like, and then if you read that out to me, I'll probably say no. I don't love that, Timbo Sly. Sorry. I just, you need less minutes risk, I think, on a bench boost. Like, 1 minute's risk is fine. I don't know how I feel about having 2 minutes risk like that. Sorry about the bit of lag, by the way, chat. Again, as always, I hope the audio is coming through fine despite the computer having a bit of a nightmare. We will get a new computer for next season. I'm very excited for that. For now, we just struggle through. Hey, Ross, what's your plan for this game week, says Dario. My plan for this week is to probably sell Gabriel to Bradley and play a 4 at the back. So 4-3-3, bench Konsa, Saka, Foden, believe it or not. And then, yeah, have Bradley in my team. That's the plan at the moment. I am also thinking about possibly selling Foden for Asensio as well. That's a possible option. Abdul Hamid says, on wildcard, bench boost 33, free hit 34. Okay, you've given me your team. Want to rise but afraid to fall. Thoughts changes 1.2 million in the bank. Anything I would do. So you're on bench boost 33. Yeah, so Henderson Rise, a nice combo. Estepinian, I don't understand. If you're on bench boost 33. Marlon's fine for this week, but I don't expect him to start both next week. It's a great team. My only concern, I don't even mind the Marlon punt, to be honest. My concern would be Estepinian. He's not great for bench boost 33. I would rather go for, have you got 3 Arsenal? You've got Raya. You've put Saka twice on your bench, by the way. I don't know who the third player is. Is it Saliba? I'd be tempted to go for Kivior or Saliba instead of Estepinian if you've got a third Arsenal spot open, or just someone else. I just think, other than that, Abdul, it's a nice team. Andreas says bench is Martinez, Konsa, Savinho, and Gabriel. Would you do Milenkovic for Gabriel and bench boost, or roll and bench boost 33? Martinez, Konsa, Savinho, Gabriel. That's a very tough one because Martinez is fine for next week. I think that's borderline, but if you want to just hit it this week, I think Martinez, Savinho, Milenkovic could do really well on your bench boost. As long as you've got no other risks in the starting 11, Andreas, I would be tempted to do it this week. Scott Reeves says 11 is... Okay, I've got your 11. Bench boost active with Sells, Murillo, Robinson, Clivert. What are your thoughts? Clivert to Barnes. Robinson's not great for the bench boost. You've got Rodgers in your starting 11. Clivert as a risk. I wouldn't bench boost with Clivert So yeah, if you want to do it, I'd sell Clivert, but then I'd move Rodgers to your bench. And then you've got Sells, Murillo, Robinson, Rodgers. That's a borderline free hit, Scott. I don't think that's the strongest bench boost that I've seen. It's borderline. Clivert to Barnes. You've not got Murphy, have you? I would just do Clivert to Murphy, bench Rodgers. It's a borderline bench boost. That's all I can say. I think that's a call you've got to make. I would be tempted. Areola, Gvardiol, Savinho, Milenkovic, bench boost. I don't love that because of Areola, so I'm going to say no. I would just bench boost it next week. Hey, bud, you're a good man. Thank you, Jay. Can't decide whether to start Saka, Foden, or just go with a double Forest defence instead. I would just go Milenkovic and Nico Williams and bench Saka and Foden, personally. Start Saka or Timber? No, I don't think either will start, but Saka. Thanks for jinxing Marmouche. I played Bowen last game week. You're welcome. Pravdip says, hi, Ross. My team is... Okay, I've got you. Any changes? So bench of Verbruggen, Semenyo, 8 Nuri, Agbadu. Is there anything I would change with that team? I mean, I would probably start Semenyo ahead of Saka. If that was my team, I'd start Semenyo ahead of Saka. But other than that, Pravdeep, it's a nice team. I don't think you need to make any transfers this week. Emma says, start Pope or Martinez and start Saka or Bowen. Pope or Martinez? Pope. And Saka or Bowen, I'd start Bowen. Because I don't think Saka starts. So Pope and Bowen. Sanko says, good morning, Ross. I have Gvardiol, Konsa and Rodgers / Marmouche. Who would you start? Have an amazing day. You too as well, Sanko. I would go Gvardiol and Marmouche because I don't think Konsa and Rodgers are definitely starting. I'd be surprised if Gvardiol and Marmouche don't start. So I would just start the players that have the better expected minutes. Connor Green says, hi, Ross. 2 free transfers. Raya, Konsa, Rodgers, Gabriel. Bench boost or not? Raya, Konsa, Rodgers, Gabriel. Oh, no. No, I wouldn't. Because I think Rodgers is great next week. Raya's great next week. Konsa should be great next week. Gabriel you can sell. Sell a couple of your Newcastle players, I assume you have. Without seeing the rest of your team, Connor, that probably looks more like bench boost 33. Limit 613 says, hey Ross, amazing content yesterday as always. Thank you very much. I have 3 dilemmas. Raya versus Emmy. I'd go Raya. Van Dijk versus Gvardiol. I would just about go Gvardiol versus Konsa, 1 star. See, I'd just about go Gvardiol, then Van Dijk, then Konsa. Saka versus Savinho, I'd go Savinho. So Raya, Gvardiol, Savinho. Yeah, the rest of your team looks fantastic, mate. Best of luck and thank you for the support. As Sam says, hi Ross, gut feeling Mo will go big. Tempted to give him the armband. If you've got a gut feeling, by all means, like there will be single game weekers that outscore the likes of Isaac and Mateta this week, and Salah could be one of them. Also, why not start Konsa? I might be overthinking this. I'm just slightly worried about all Aston Villa players' minutes, so I just don't know if I want to take the risk. And I don't necessarily think it's a dead cert clean sheet anyway. Frosty says, excited to enable that free hit for next week. Free hit 33 is such a nice position to be in. I mean, it'll make 34 more difficult to navigate, of course, but you could just have a free reign pick of all of the doublers. Like, if you want to get a little bit spicy with Arsenal picks or City picks, you can do that. It's a nice position to be in. Muchos love, as always. I appreciate you, my friend. And yeah, make sure to send me your draft on later today. As soon as you hit that free hit button and you start tinkering, send me a draft across. I'm excited to see it. Sophie, who would you bench? Marmouche, Rodgers, Gvardiol, Saliba, Saka, Nico Williams. Good luck this week, Ross. Thank you. So do you need to bench 3 of those? I wouldn't bench Marmouche. Wouldn't bench Saliba. Wouldn't bench Nico Williams. So if you need to bench 3 of them, Rodgers, Saka, Gvardiol, probably. If you need to bench 2 of them, Rodgers and Saka, because I think they're the least likely to start. But thank you for the support. Heaven says, hi Ross, is it smart to hold my triple captain beyond 32 and 33? Not really. Well, it's not smart, but I would just play in 32 or 33, unless you're playing other chips in those weeks. Do you know what? We should run a chip poll in a second. I'll do that in a second. FPL Vert says, do I risk Rashford over the Saliba clean sheet chance? No, I'd go Saliba personally. But I mean, Rashford it probably does have a higher ceiling, because if he does start, or even off the bench, he could do a lot of damage. I would go Saliba still. Keith says, hi Ross. Kepa, Carson, Burn, Gvardiol, Munoz, Gabriel, O'Shea, Saka, Sarr, Salah, Palmer, Dibbling, Isak, Mateta, Marmouche. 4 free transfers, what would you do? So you've got Burn, Munoz, Sarr, Mateta, Isak. So you don't have a third. I would go Murphy's the first player I'd want. So Dibbling to Murphy. Maybe Gabriel to... But you don't need a defender this week, though. I think just Dibbling to Murphy would be the main transfer I'd do there. And then you can largely roll. Like, you've not got a great bench, but you don't need a great bench when the rest of your players are okay. Yeah, I think Dibbling to Murphy. And then bench Saka. And then leave it there, Keith. Aranya says, bench 3 of Saka, Marmoush, Rogers, Konsa, Konate, Ruben Diaz. I would start Marmoush and Konate, probably. Oh, no, you can start... I would start Marmoush, Konate, Ruben Diaz, Aranya. Bart says, start 8 Nuri or Saka. 8 Nuri? Or -4 for Eze. Oh, -4 for Eze, but don't sell Saka. As long as the -4 isn't to sell Saka, I would do the -4. Savinho out for Asensio. Will it be worth it? No. I'd keep Savinho. Hayden says 140 points behind first. Need 20 points on him each week. I will just say I don't think you can do that, but by all means go for it. Captain Mateta, absolutely. Like, each week you are going to have to go super rogue. Like, even like, just go mental with your decisions, because 20 points each week. Because what you basically are saying is, if he has a really good week at some point, you're then looking at probably 30 plus points each week. If he has a couple of good weeks, you're looking at like 40 plus points in the weeks outside of that. I just think it's probably impossible, but yes, I would absolutely, you have to go super different with every decision. By the way, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please do smash that like button and make sure to subscribe. Especially the subscribing, but also the liking. Also, if you're someone that has always been subscribed and you always like, but you've not turned on notifications, I never really ask for that, but there's a bell. Basically, if you hit that and in your settings on your iPhone or Android, you enable YouTube notifications, it will just ping you a notification when I upload. So like, subscribe, hit notifications. Chris Baines says, Verbruggen, Saka, Foden, Gabriel, bench with 2 free transfers. Would you bench boost 32? No. Maybe. You'd have to sell Foden, though. And it's if you're happy selling Foden ahead of double game week 33. Sell Gabriel for anyone, Saliba. Sell Foden for Asensio. And yeah, it looks like a great bench boost. But only if you're happy selling Foden. And then obviously Saka is still part of that bench boost. I don't hate it, Chris. Maybe just getting rid of Foden is the play. Gekium says, should I do Foden to Saka? I have no funds for both. Foden to Saka. I mean, I don't think either start this week, but Saka's got more of a chance of starting than Foden, I guess. It's not great. I probably wouldn't do that this week, no. Super Duper says, been a member for 22 months. No message, but thank you for your support, my friend. Triple captain this week or next week? On who? I would go this week on Isak, next week on Marmoush or Saka. Thor says, not a big update this week as my wife's bad luck is getting ridiculous. Welbeck's 9-pointer providing a third of all her points. She got 27 points. Whilst I had Murphy and even Ilson actually give me a green arrow. Your wife's luck needs to be studied, Thor. In the meantime, my girlfriend's luck is obscene. We had 3 players different, me and my girlfriend. Like, our wildcards were identical other than 3. Her 3 players get 21 points. Mine get 9. How has she outscored me once again so easily? And each week I look at my team and think it looks as good, if not better. Anyway, I feel for your wife, but well done on having a good season yourself, mate. You just smashing it. Ross Wilding, with your team, fantastic name, Ross. Would you play the bench boost? Sorry, who would you bench, or is bench boost possible? So bench would be... I mean, it's possible. It's possible. It is possible. But you'd have to bench boost with Rogers and Konsa. I'd bench boost next week. In terms of who I would bench this week, you've probably got it spot on, mate. Probably would be Gvardiol, Rogers, Konsa, and Raya. Yeah, I'd probably go for that. I'd probably go for the bench that you've got. Jay says, start Saka or Savinho. I'd start Savinho if it was me. Best Foden replacement for bench boost this week. I'd go Asensio. Assuming that you've got 3 Newcastle and 3 Palace already. Discover with Sims says, so many injuries this season, or is it just me? No, there has been a lot of injuries this season. It's going to be wet next week. Any stats on who plays the best in the rain? No, but we should. I think there's loads of stats about Salah in the rain. I can't remember what they were, but someone went through and looked at Salah's output in the rain. It wasn't an FPL manager. It was like a statistician, and a couple of seasons ago, and it was pretty funny. But yeah, that might impact who we pick, I suppose. Club, my first 2 weeks got 111, 164. Wow. I think you've outscored me in at least one of those weeks. Thank you for the support as always, Sim. I appreciate you. And yeah, there definitely has been far too many injuries this season. Alex says start/bench Gvardiol Canate. I'd start Gvardiol and bench Canate, but I think that's extremely close, Alex. Thank you for the support. But yeah, I trust your gut feeling, mate. That is genuinely a coin flip decision. David says, bench boost this week. Matoma on the bench is a doubt. Who to replace him? Have considered Szoboszlai, Trossard, or Asensio? I'd be tempted to keep Matoma. If I were going to replace him, I would go Asensio, but I would be tempted to keep Matoma because the full quote made it sound like there's a chance he starts. That's a really tough one. If you want to replace, I'd go Asensio. Hi, Ross. Thoughts on Foden to Trossard? I don't mind Trossard. I don't think he starts both in 33, but you would expect him to start the Brentford game at least. So you probably get the Brentford game and then one start in 33. And if he starts the Ipswich game, looks really good. Yeah, I don't mind Trossard as a punt. But just know that he isn't in their first choice 11. Liam says, okay, Liam, you give me your team. Says, how does the bench boost sound? Triple captain next week or 33? So your bench boost would be Martinez, Murillo, Saliba, Matoma. Other than Matoma being a slight risk, that's a really nice bench boost. Triple captain next week or 36. I'd probably go next week on Marmoush or Saka, personally. Robin says, play 2, bench 2. Rodgers, Rashford, Saka, Gvardiol. I would start Rashford and Gvardiol and bench Rodgers and Saka. Morgan says, Martinez or Raya, I'd go Raya. And Contra or Saliba or Gvardiol, I'd go Saliba. If you want to differentiate slightly and spread the risk a little bit, I would go Martinez and Saliba or Raya and Gvardiol. Like, if you don't want to start double Arsenal, just start one and then the alternative. Abdel Hamid says, back for more. Wildcard 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34, or free hit 33, bench boost 36. If I was on wildcard 32, I think I'd set up for bench boost 33, free hit 34. I think that's the more straightforward way to do it. Timbo Slicer says, I'm 1.2 million rank. What's the highest I can finish? I think just set smaller goals. Like set top million, then get top 750. I think top 500k is certainly possible if you nail it. I think above and beyond that to get to like top 250k, there's probably too much of a gap there. But definitely top 750k, for example. I think you can hit top 500. I really do, if you nail it. Hey, Ross, what's good versus bad for Isaac Triple Captain this week? Good is 2 home fixtures. Good is that you know what's in front of you. Bad is that he's not in a great run of form. Like, if you look at his underlying data across the last 6 to 10 game weeks, Isaac has definitely dropped off. He's clearly not fully fit. And Manchester United and Palace have really good away data. Like, defensively, they're very decent teams away from home. But I would just play what's in front of you. You don't know that you'll get a better opportunity. I would go Isaac. Murphy for a -4 would sell next game week. Don't like it. It depends if you think he does well this week. Like, if Murphy gets 3 attacking returns this week, which is possible, it's worth it. If he only gets 1 or 2, then yeah, it probably wouldn't be worth a hit. Just depends how well you think he'll do. He's got really good output, right? I can't remember what the stat is, but since like game week 14 or something, he's had the 3rd most attacking returns in the Premier League after like Isak and Salah. So Murphy is a very good option. FBK says, hi Ross, should I play Saka or just do a 4-man defence of Gvardiol, Munoz, Livramento, Williams or Saliba? I mean, you could play a back 5 there, mate. But yeah, I would definitely play a back 4 rather than start Saka there myself. CW says, hi Ross, love the streams. Thank you very much. Start Enzo over Marmoush or Salah. No, I'd start Marmoush and Salah. Is Palmer to Saka for game week 33 worth it? I think it will be, but let's assess how many minutes Saka gets in 32 in the Champions League. And which midfielder in for Enzo 33, 6.5 million budget? If you've not got Rodgers, I'd go Rodgers. If you've got Rodgers, I think we are probably looking at another Villa midfielder, maybe a Rashford. If you've already got them, then we'll discuss that nearer to the time. But I think I would be going for a doubler, of course. JB and Duvet says, money is no issue. I'm wildcard 32 to bench boost 33 with 2 free transfers. Team is... Okay, changes. We say money's no issue, but you've not got unlimited money. You're on bench boost 33. Well, if you're on bench boost 33, definitely wouldn't have Sells because he's got Spurs away that week. So I'd change Sells out. Bowen's great for wildcard. For a bench boost, Contra I like. Rogers, yep. Eze, Salah, Murphy. I think it's literally just Sells. I wouldn't have Sells. I'd have Emi Martinez, or I would have Henderson or Pope if you're not tripled up on them. Anyone else I'd consider? I mean, you could go really expensive with Allison. I'd go Emi Martinez, though. Assuming you've not already got 3. I don't think you've already got 3. Yeah, you haven't got 3 Aston Villa, so I'd go Emi. Max Ryan says, benching headache. Play 1 midfielder. Saka, Rogers, and 1 defender. Dazassi, Gvardiol, Timber. Cheers, Raptor. Also, love the content, bro. Thank you very much. So Saka and Rogers, just who do you think is more likely to start? I'd maybe start Rogers. Do I think... Chat, who's more likely to start? Saka or Rogers? I think Rogers may be slightly more likely to start than Saka. So I'd start Saka. 1 defender out of Dazassi, Gvardiol, Timber. I'd go Gvardiol. I appreciate the support, man. I'd go Gvardiol and Rogers just about. Hi, Ross. Which one would you start? Rogers, Saka, Timber, or Ruben Diaz? Ruben Diaz. Yeah, Ruben Diaz. I think all of the other 3 are doubts to start, Johnny. Alfie Bet says, start Rogers or Palmer? Definitely Palmer. Or transfer Palmer out. No, Palmer. Nah, I would definitely... Palmer's great for this week. I'm so jealous of people that have Palmer. Sarter for Bruggen. If you're on bench boost, yes. Otherwise, I'd just leave it. Lewis says benching. Even so, actually, I'd be tempted to just leave it and hope that Sarr does something. Benching headache. Contra and Gvardiol and Saka Savinho. Start Gvardiol and Savinho, Lewis. Adrian says Saliba or Gabriel. Saliba or Gabriel? Well, Gabriel's out for the season, so Saliba. If it's Saliba or Gvardiol you were meant to type, Adrian, I would just about say Saliba still. Saka or Rogers, again, who do you think is more likely to start? I think both will be benched, but I would say Rogers is slightly more likely to start. Piyush says, hey, got Verbruggen, Nico Williams, Savinho in the starting 11. Bench is Raya, Gvardiol, Saliba, Saka. Bench boost or triple captain, Isak. Start Raya or Verbruggen. I'd be tempted to bench boost that. I'd probably bench boost that, Piyush. Yeah, I probably would. Liana says, hi Ross. Who to replace for Sarr, Savinho, Marino, or Rogers? And also bench Gvardiol or Saliba, thanks. I think Saliba Gvardiol is very close, Liana. I'd probably start Saliba just about. If you need to sell one of Savinho, Marino, or Rogers for Sarr, I don't like selling any of them. I mean, if you were to really push me, probably Savinho, because he's the least likely to start both in 33, whereas Marino and Rogers should. I don't love that, though. I wonder, do you just keep them and go without Sarr? That's tough, though, isn't it? Big love to you, and thank you for the support. I'd sell Savinho if I had to sell one of them, but I wouldn't like that. Scott says, hi, Ross. Start one of Saka, Gvardiol, Milenkovic, Savinho. Milenkovic. Tulu says, bench is Martinez, Gvardiol, Williams, Marmouche. Bench boost or triple captain? Rogers, Palmer, Salah, and Konsa start. In that case, I would bench Rogers and Konsa. I would start Gvardiol and Marmouche, and I would triple captain rather than bench boost, because I don't think that's your actual bench. In my opinion, anyway, that wouldn't be your actual bench. So I would sort out your bench the way it would actually be, and then in that case, I think it's probably triple captain. Sam says, triple captain this week, Isak, Murphy, or Mateta. I would go Isak, then Mateta, then Murphy. Hey, Ross, good morning. Start Saka, Marino, and thoughts on Timber. I don't think Timber will start, and I would start Marino ahead of Saka. Lewis said, thoughts on Murphy, captain over Isak. It's not awful. I just think that Isak's on penalties and is just a better asset than Murphy. But it's like, if you're really chasing Lewis, I don't hate the idea of Murphy cap. Hey, Ross, who would you start, Saka or Savinho? I would start Savinho, personally. Liam has been taking your selections all season. Very nice. I have the same team except Mateta. 3 free transfers, 0 in the bank. Do I do Foden to Rodgers and even Ilson to Mateta? I don't think Foden to Rodgers helps you massively this week, but assuming that you can bench Rodgers or you're happy risking starting him, even Ilson to Mateta feels good. Yeah, I would probably do that. You could do Foden to Asensio if you need a player this week. I think Asensio's more likely to start than Rodgers. Nathan says, hi Ross, who should I start, Timber Konsa or Kirkes? I'd start Kirkes, Nathan, because I think the other two could be benched. Mark says, hi Ross, on triple captain 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34. You give me your team. Said, any suggestions to set up for bench boost 33? All the best. Cool, what a team, mate. What a team. I mean, I think next week you might want to sell Kirkes. You might not want him as part of your bench boost. And then next week you're also probably going to want to sell Livramento. Where's your third Newcastle? You've got Isak. Do you not have a third Newcastle? Yeah, you don't. Yeah, so, I mean, you could buy Murphy this week, by the way, if you wanted to, but I don't know who you'd sell there, to be honest. Like, you could sell Savinho for Murphy, but that doesn't help you for next week. I think, basically, you probably leave it as it is this week, and then next week, I think you probably sell Kirkes and Livramento for, like, Bradley and Kivior or something like that. You might also want to get Saka as well. Anyway, we can cross that bridge next week, mate, but this week you don't need to make any changes. AFC Flow says, bench boost of Emmy, Bradley, Saka, Saliba. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I prefer that this week, AFC Flow. BJ says, Ross, assistant manager active, Frank Gameweek 31, got Mateta, Munoz, Isak, Murphy. Plan was Glasner and Livramento, now looking at Howe and Eze Sarr, and then move to Pep Arteta Gameweek 33 as a safer pick. 50 points off my number 1 in my mini league. Free hit 34 on wildcard 35. I probably prefer Glasner and Livramento. Actually, no, because you get an extra doubler next week, don't you, with Howe and Eze Sarr? Yeah, I think Howe and Eze might be nice, but you do have to use an extra transfer then, of course. But if you went Glasner and Livramento and you were bench... Are you bench... No, you can't bench boost next week. What am I talking about? I still think I prefer Glasner and Livramento then. I was thinking if you were bench boosting, but if you've got the assistant manager, of course you can't. I would probably go Glasner and Livramento, but Howe and Eze is a really nice pairing as well. If you feel more confident going for the safer pairing of Howe this week and Arteta next week, I don't hate it. Paul says, hi Ross, who do I play? I can only have 3, Rashford, Saka, Saliba or Gvardiol. I would bench Saka of those 4. Bench 1, Edison/Raya. I'd bench Edison. Triple captain Isak, bench boost 33, 3 hit 34. Sounds good to me. Yaz says play 2 of Saka, Savinho, Gvardiol, Saliba. I'd probably go Savinho and Saliba. Savinho and Saliba. Attacking Brighton assets this game week, then out next week. Verbruggen/Estepinian. Yeah, you could do, but bringing them in and then taking them out, I don't know if they're that good that I'd want to use 2 transfers on them. But I mean, their fixtures for the foreseeable future aren't terrible. You could keep them a little bit longer. Bench 2 this game week, Saka, Saliba, Rodgers. I'd bench Saka and Rodgers and start Saliba. Want to bench boost, but worried about Konsa. Transfer him out. I wouldn't transfer Konsa out. If Konsa's your only risk this week, bench boost with Konsa. One issue or one risk isn't the end of the world, because your other 3 players could deliver for you. Jim says, would you sell Saka for Eze or Marino to Sarr? I think I wouldn't sell Saka. Marino to Sarr is slightly better, but I also don't love selling Marino. Mark says, okay, Mark, you give me your team. Said bench boost 32 or 33. No free hit wildcard. Okay, I'm trying to work this out. -8, Martinelli, Timber, Gordon to Nico Diaz, Murphy. Bench boost 32. So your bench would be like Sanchez, Nico. I'm finding it difficult to try and work this out exactly, but that definitely looks like a better bench boost in 32. So assuming that you're happy taking that hit, Mark, I would probably bench boost 32. Yeah, the message is a little bit difficult to try and work out, but if I'm getting it right, I think that looks like a better bench boost in 32, but you're having to take a -8 hit. If you don't have to take that massive hit for a bench boost 33, then I would lean that way. And yeah, you're probably looking at wildcarding in 34 or 35 in your case. Joe Eastwood says, triple captain Isak this week, play Saliba or Gvardiol. I would absolutely triple captain Isak, and I would probably play Saliba just about ahead of Gvardiol. Right, let's run this poll. FPL Pickle is not awake yet. We need to call FPL Pickle in a second. I'm just getting my Whoop, sorry. My Whoop was fully charged. I hadn't charged it, so I was charging it for the start of the stream. This is not sponsored by Whoop, but I very much enjoy my Whoop. I will say that much. Maybe they should sponsor the content. Imagine, I keep saying, imagine that in the top corner I've got a live heart rate monitor. Like, why aren't Whoop sponsoring the deadline stream? And you can see as we're getting early team news and stuff like that, my heart rate spikes. How cool would that be to have a heart rate monitor? If anyone works with or knows anyone that works with Whoop, tell them to reach out. Imagine sponsoring the live streams and I've got my heart rate. I'm gonna call the pickle. I'm calling the pickle. The pickle is not answering. The pickle is asleep. Hello, Pickle. You are live on air. Please do not swear. You are sleeping during the deadline stream. I thought I would wake you up just in case you wanted a bit of time to think about your moves. So there is 1 hour and 10 minutes until the deadline. There is no news currently that would affect your planned moves, but I thought you might want to wake up, make yourself a tea, and have a bit of a think before the deadline. Do you want to? I'm going to put you on speaker if you want to say hello to the chat.
Okay.
There you go. You're on speaker.
Okay. Hi everyone. Sorry that I'm not on the stream. Oh, come on.
There you go. Oh, you sound so sleepy. All right, cool. I love you lots. I'll speak to you in a sec. Bye. Oh God, she was fast asleep. Don't forget to like and subscribe. She better be liking and subscribing. Let me tell you that much. Right, let me run a poll. What chip do you have in play this week? Bench boost, triple captain, Arseman / wildcard. Unfortunately, there isn't enough options for all of the chips, but I can get a decent poll going, and then no chip in play. Right, I've just run a poll. What chip do you have in play this week? Bench boost, triple captain, assistant manager / wildcard, or no chip in play? If you're on free hit, I do apologise, but I'm yet to see anyone that is, so I've left that one out. Where was I? JC250 says 89th in the world, Isak triple captain, and 6 doublers this week. 89th in the world. With my squad looking strong for bench boost next game week. Headache this week is Saka or Rodgers. Gut feeling is that neither start. My gut feeling is that neither start. I just think that Rodgers has the better fixture and also the better fitness. So I think if I was to back one of them to start, or at least to get something off the bench, it might be Rodgers. So I think I'd go Rodgers over Saka. Darren says, hi Ross. By the way, well done for 89th in the world. Hi Ross, I have Raya, Munoz, Burns, Saliba, Gvardiol, Murphy, Sarr, Salah, Marmoush, Isak, Mateta. Lovely team. On my bench, I have Martinez, Saka, Mazraoui, Kluivert. Any changes? Planned bench boost 33. I think you're very well set up for bench boost 33, mate. No changes needed this week. Roll the transfer. Get yourself set up for bench boost 33. And then if you need to deal with like Kluivert, if he's still a doubt, you obviously will probably want to sell Murphy and Burn. You have the transfers to do that. But yeah, you're in a nice position. At least you don't have Gabriel as well to deal with. Mohit says, triple captain Mateta behind him on mini league by 27 points. I will say that 27 points isn't that much, so I don't think you need to take unnecessary risks. So if you think Mateta's a great triple captain, yeah, go for it. But I wouldn't triple captain him just to catch up 27 points, because you can easily just do that by just making small, subtle changes to your starting 11. Like 27 points across 7 or 8 weeks, so however many we've got left, 7, isn't a lot. Is it 7 weeks we've got left? Or 8? I don't know why I can't count. Anyway. Would you get 3 Fulham on free hit 34? Yeah, I think so. I think we'll be looking at like Raul Jimenez or Muniz, Iwobi and Robinson. Or maybe double defence. Maybe like Leno, Robinson and Iwobi. My belly be going crazy. I think that's hunger. I hope that's hunger. Whew. I hope it's hunger. That'd be awkward on the live stream. Morgan gives White to Eze for a hit. For a hit. Yeah, I'd want Eze. Go for it. Hey, Ross. Start Martinez and Semenyo or Raya and Saka? Martinez and Semenyo or Raya and Saka? Why one or... Raya Martinez, I'd probably start Raya and then Semenyo over Saka. So I'd probably go Raya and Semenyo. If you have to start a pairing for some reason, I'd say Martinez and Semenyo is the better pairing there. What's your thoughts on KDB as a differential for the next couple of weeks? I don't love it. I just don't think he gets enough minutes, Martin. He looked so unfit and like just didn't have that same cutting edge against Manchester United. I just didn't think it was a good performance from him. So yeah, he might start most, but is he going to start all of them? And he's a lot of money. If you just want to have one final fun punt with KDB before he's no longer an option in the Prem for FPL, then go for it. But I don't love it. Dusty Tone says bench boost: Kepa, Saka, Konsa, Kukurea. Konsa to Bradley, no free hit 34. So your bench boost would be Kepa, Saka, Bradley, and Kukurea. I don't know that I'd want to sell Konsa. Bradley does give you an extra player in 34, though. I don't hate that, mate. I don't hate it. I don't love it at the same time, but I don't hate it. Yeah, I'd probably go for it. Rick _ says, hi Ross, thanks for the amazing YouTube content every week. You're more than welcome. Please help me here. Start 2 of Raya, Emi, Saliba, Gvardiol. I would diversify and spread your risk slightly here. So I would go Raya and Gvardiol, or I would go Emi and Saliba. Out of those options, Raya and Gvardiol, because Gvardiol's got more attacking threat than Saliba. I'd probably go Raya and Gvardiol there. Ross, your legend. Hello, Tio. Says triple captain this week on Isak or Murphy. I'd go Isak. Unless you want to take a super big risk and go Murphy, but I'd go Isak. Dave says, what's better? Bench boost of Sells, Rogers, Saka, Milenkovic this week, or a bench boost of Sells, Palmer, Concert, Burn next week for a -4? If Nottingham Forest keep a clean sheet, bench boost 32 looks better. If Nottingham Forest concede, then that's probably a bit of a mess of a bench boost. I'd still probably say bench boost 32 looks a little bit better, just because of that hit. If it was for free, the second one, then maybe. But for a hit, and it then includes Sells against Spurs away, Burn against Villa away. But Palmer being part of the bench boost is nice. Just about 32. Should I start Martinez or Sells? I'd go Sells. Chris Pepper, thank you for the massive super chat, my friend. That's too kind. Says, hi Ross, sport for choice. Want a bench boost? I have 4 free transfers, okay? Still have a free hit, and this is my team. Areola Raya, Gvardiol Trippier, Burn Gabriel Munoz, Saka Semenyo, Sarr, Salah, Rogers, Mateta Marmoush, Isak. Okay, so 4 free transfers. You want a bench boost this week? Why can't you bench boost next week? That team is set up for a bench boost next week. If you desperately want a bench boost this week and you've got 4 free transfers, can you do it? You'd sell Gabriel for Saliba, Areola to Verbruggen. Actually, it's not a terrible. Yeah, do you know what? You could do that. Yeah, you could do that. I'd say Areola to Verbruggen and Gabriel to Kivior or Saliba. And then you can bench boost. It's not an awful bench boost. It just involves Saka, who's obviously a slight doubt, and Rogers. I would bench boost that in 33, though. I'd bench boost that in 33. And if you're bench boosting in 33, then you can just roll the transfer and have 5 free transfers for bench boost 33. Thank you for the support, though, Chris. But yeah, I would roll bench boost 33, attack it with 5 free transfers, and then we can deal with that in next week's stream. Triple captain Isak / Mateta 32, Saka 33, or pray for 36. Chasing badly. Would prefer 33, bench boost, free hit 34. Yeah, I would just go Isak 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34. I know you're chasing, but inherently just by using 3 chips in a row, you should do fairly well, I think. Is there any chance Timber starts this week? 10% chance? 10% chance. Khalifa says, hi Ross, want to triple captain Saka 33. What do you think of bench boost this week owning Saka and Rashford? I don't think either of them start, but I think Rashford definitely will probably get minutes off the bench, and so could Saka, so they could do damage. You only need one of them to get a return off the bench, a couple of your other players to do well, and it looks good. If you're desperate to triple captain Saka in 33, I think you'll find bench boost for those two. But just know that if they both don't start and get minutes, you could be bench boosting with like 2 players. Hi Ross, triple captain or bench boost? I mean, immediately looking at that team, there are issues to sort out, but yeah, you can't. I don't think you can bench boost with that team considering you've got Fabianski and Vandenberg and Rodgers. No, that's not a bench boost. I'll triple captain Isaac. Bridie. Doriano says, hi Ross, my team is bench boost or triple captain. Okay, let's look at your team. So your bench is Martinez, Marino, Gvardiol, Konsa. You've got no real concerns in the starting 11. Yeah, that's a bench boost. Yeah, I'd bench boost that. I do also think, though, looking at that, in fact, that's probably a better bench boost in 33 because you've got doubling keepers in 33 as well. Marino, Gvardiol, Konsa all doubling in 33. Do you know what? Looking at that team, actually, Doriano, you could bench boost it this week. It looks fine, but that's probably a better bench boost 33. So I would probably triple captain 32, bench boost 33. Rusty says, would you start Rodgers or Saka? We've spoken about this a little bit. So I think both don't start, but I think Rodgers has a better fixture and is more likely to start if I had to choose one. So I would go Rodgers. Mateta captain instead of Isak is absolutely fine. I think Isak is a better captain, so I'm going to go for him. But as I spoke about throughout the week, I also think Mateta could do really well. Claim Your Own says, should I bench Saka or Elanga? Thank you, Ross. I'd start Elanga and bench Saka. I think Elanga might start. Start Milenkovic or Gvardiol. Ooh, that's tough, but I'd go Milenkovic. Triple captain Isak? Yes. Hi, Ross. Who to start of Saka, Savinho and Konsa? Is it 1 or 2 you need to start? If it's 1, I'd start Savinho. If it's 2, I'd probably go Saka and Savinho. Thinking of triple captain Isak this week. Yep, I'd go for it. Saving my wildcard for 35 and bench boost for 36. What are your thoughts? We don't know what the fixtures are in 36 yet, so it could work out really well or it could be a complete waste. I don't hate the idea of back-ending and backloading your, that sounds a bit sus, your chips. So saving them for those final few game weeks, because most of us, myself included, are going to be all out of chips by game week 34. So if you're still there with 2 chips to play, you're going to be in a good position. Frankfurt says, hi Ross, if I still have triple captain left, when is the best time to play it? Got bench boost left too. I think the next 2 weeks. Bench boost this week or next week, and triple captain this week or next week. I would first look at when's the best time to bench boost, decide that, and then triple captain in the other week. If your bench boost doesn't look great this week or next week, you could also save the bench boost for 36, but there's no guarantee that it looks good in 36. So yeah, across the next 2 weeks, basically. Peleg says, I have Glasner. Would you take a -4, Pope to Edison / other, not Raya, since I want Arteta for next game week, for Eddie Howe? Chasing rank in my mini league. So you have Glasner. Why don't you just keep Glasner for the next 2? Like, if you've gone Glasner, surely you just want to keep Glasner. That was the whole point, is that you get the double-double. I might be misunderstanding, Peleg, but I would just keep Glasner. I don't know why you would want to keep moving Glasner out once you've got him in there. Yeah, I would just keep Glasner, personally. Paul says, Ross, benching headache. Okay. Bench Areola. Bench Konsa. Bench Gvardiol. And bench Elanga. Areola, Konsa, Gvardiol, Elanga. That's who I would bench with that team, Paul. But yeah, that is a bit of a benching headache, I'll admit. Liam says, start Emi or Raya. I would go Raya. Saliba or Saka, I'd go Saliba. Actually, if you're starting Saliba, you might want to spread the risk a bit. Maybe Martinez and Saliba from those pairings, Liam. Oh, sorry. I think my computer just decided to lag out here. Hopefully you can still hear my audio just whilst it's having a bit of a fit. Hatik says, hi Ross, on wildcard this week. Very nice, Hatik. Raya, Areola, Gvardiol, Munoz, Livramento, Wan-Bissaka, Konsa, Murphy, Palmer, Salah, Eze, Rodgers, Isak, Mateta, Marmoush. Okay, I like that. Thoughts. Going to do Cole to Saka, Murphy to Savinho, And then Livramento to Canate, Timber, Bradley next week. Perfect, mate. Yeah, got no major concerns with that. Really nice plan. Could potentially go Saka a little bit earlier to save yourself from having to make a transfer next week, but I like having Cole Palmer against Ipswich. It's like a 9.5 out of 10 wildcard, Hatik. I like it. Matthias says, buy Murphy and play Mikalenko, or buy Scher and play Bruno Fernandes. Probably Murphy and Mikalenko. I'd say Murphy and Mikalenko. Start Semenyo or Saka. I'd start Semenyo personally, Matt. You've got just under an hour till the deadline. Ignore my computer lagging out completely. Hopefully you can hear me. And it will fix itself in a second. Don't know why it does it. I have absolutely no idea. It's not my internet. It's just the computer decides to just lag, and it works. And lag, and then it works, you know? Start Savinho or Saliba. I'd start Savinho. I think there's a leak that Savinho and Gvardiol start. If anyone can provide me with the source, then I will check it out. Otherwise, I will ignore for now, just because obviously... Harrison says, would you bench boost with Raya, Kirkes, Semenyo, and Aina? No, because Aina's probably not going to play unless I've missed something there. I think he's a bit of a doubt. Have I missed it? Is Aina back? Otherwise, the rest of it looks great. The rest of it looks great. Has Ross already used his triple captain? I have, yeah. B.L. says, love you. I love you too. Thank you very much. Appreciate the support and the love. George says, good morning, Ross. Hope you are well. I'm doing well, thank you, my friend. I hope you are as well. Just tuning in, so not sure if you already answered. I'm on free hit 33. Would you triple captain Isak this week? Yeah, we spoke a bit about it, mate. I think triple captain Isak is a great option this week. I'd be very happy to do that. Rahil says, triple captain Isak, Gvardiol, Livramento, Munoz, Konsa, Saliba, Saka, Sarr, Murphy, Salah, Rashford, Isak, Marmoush, Mateta. Would you transfer Rashford to Rodgers and bench Saka? No, I think Rashford is probably marginally more likely to start than Rodgers. So no, I would probably just start Rashford, personally, Rahil. But yeah, it's a really nice team, mate. Martin says Gay and Gabriel to Munoz and Timber. -4 next week, Munoz to Glasner. I don't know that Timber starts this week. I would probably go Kivior instead of Timber if you need a player to start this week. I just don't think Timber starts. But yeah, otherwise, Martin, it looks good. Tats says, bench boost or triple captain game week 32. 2 free transfers. That's a triple captain 32, bench boost 33, Tats, because you've got Foden, who I don't think will play, but you probably don't want to sell him in an ideal world. You've got Contra and Rodgers, who are doubts. You've got Martinez, who is equally as good in game week 33 as he is in 32. That definitely looks like a bench boost 32 triple captain 32, bench boost 33 to me. Okay, so there is a leak or a rumour going around that both Savinho and Gvardiol start. I will just say that sounds like an educated guess because I would expect both to start. So I think someone's just had a bit of a guess. Unless people think that FPL Greg's is really reliable and trustworthy. I can't see it myself. Joseph Stack says, hey Ross, hope you and Pickle are well. We are doing well, thank you. I'm off to see Pickle this afternoon. We're going to watch a Kidderminster Harriers game. If anyone knows the Kidderminster Harriers, we're going to watch them. Because our dad's a fan. So yeah, we're going to go enjoy some lower league football. But yeah, we're doing good, thank you. Benching headache. Saka, Matoma, Milenkovic, and Burmo need to start too. What are your thoughts? I'd probably start Milenkovic and In Burma or Matoma's tough. I'd start Matoma and risk that he starts because it's a great game if he does. But in Burmo's safer and on pens and on set pieces. But yeah, I'd probably go Milenkovic and Matoma if it was my team. Also, I'm loving Club, by the way. So exciting to see so many people playing Club and enjoying it. I'm glad people are enjoying it. Who do I start instead of Gvardiol, Rodgers or Saka? I wouldn't. I'd start Gvardiol. Bench boost with Verbruggen, Gvardiol, Saliba, Konsa, Rodgers. So one of Gvardiol. Okay. It's a bit of a risk, but yeah, maybe. Because if one of Konsa or Rodgers starts, you're probably okay. The rest of the bench boost looks good. I'd be tempted, Rob, yeah. I'd be tempted. Pickle's in the chat. Sorry if you've been in the chat for a while, Pickle. I've only just seen you there. I'd be surprised if any Kidderminster Harriers fans are in the chat. Could you imagine? Maybe there are. Speak out if you support the Harriers. I might make my transfer in a second, to be honest. I can't really be bothered waiting. I can't be bothered waiting. Where was I? What's Pickle said here? Okay. I can't remember where I was. Which two would you start? Konsa, Saka, Saliba, or Gvardiol? I'd start Saliba and Gvardiol. Will says, would you bench boost with Raya, Saka, Konsa, and Bradley? Oh, that's borderline, Will, but I'd be tempted. I also think that bench probably looks good in 33. Like, what's the reason for not bench boosting 33? Because looking at that team, looking at that bench there, Raya, Saka, Konsa all double. Bradley's got Leicester. That looks more of a bench boost 33 just off that, Will. Need to replace Timber and use my assistant manager on Arteta options. Bradley, I'd go. I think Bradley's the stand-up defender if I was looking to bring one in. Dennis says, my guy, been waiting. Same team as you, except Rodgers and Kirkers instead of Foden and Konsa. Okay. Thoughts about bench boost? Got to switch Areola and Gabriel, though. All love. Yeah, I don't hate bench boost 32. Sell Areola and Gabriel. Rodgers is a slight risk, but if the rest of your bench looks good, like if you get like Verbruggen and Kivior or Bradley, your team probably looks pretty good. I'd probably go for it. Yeah, I'd probably go for it. I would have been tempted myself if I didn't also have Foden. No, because you've got Saka as well, actually. So Rodgers and Saka. I'm inclined to just say bench boost 33 then, Dennis. And just stick to the plan. Start Raya or Martinez. What is your current plan? My current plan, I don't have them, but if you ask me what my current plan is to sell Gabriel to Bradley and start a 4 at the back. On Raya or Martinez, I think it's 50-50. If you've got Saliba already, maybe start Martinez. Otherwise, I think Raya is probably slightly better for me. Shanna Jade says, who would you start / transfer? Martinez, Gvardiol, Munoz, Byrne, Konsa, Saka, Sarr, Marino, Salah, Alanga, Marmoush, Mateta, Isak, assistant manager. How? Is my team strong? Your team is very strong. I wouldn't make any transfers, I don't think. Who would I bench? I would probably bench Konsa and Saka. Yeah, Konsa, Saka, and then I've not seen the rest of your team because you've not given me all your players. But Konsa and Saka would be on the bench for me. Because I just don't know that they're definitely going to start, Shanna. Start Rashford, Saka, or Gvardiol back 4. I would start Gvardiol. Thor says Kidderminster, the victims of one of the most offensive chants in English football, to the tune of the Addams Family. Am I supposed to know this chant? I feel like I should know the chant. I don't know the chant though, Thor. Is it family friendly? Hi, bench 3. Thanks for the support though. Hi, bench 3 of Raya, Edison, Savinho, Saliba, Rodgers, Saka. I would bench Edison, Rodgers, Saka. I'd start Raya, Savinho, Saliba. Here for FPL has been a member for 12 months. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Maseo says, I have all of my chips. What should I do this second? I don't know. I need to see your team. I need to know what your plan is overall. I would probably say triple captain and bench boost in the next 2 weeks. Free hit 34, wildcard 35, assistant manager 36 to 38. That would be what I would do if I had all of my chips. Hi, Ross. Bench 1 of Gvardiol, Saliba, Rogers, Semenyo. Bench 1. Rogers, probably, because he's the least likely to start. Taylor says, thoughts on Ruben Diaz? I need them to start for 32, 33 and 35. Kivior blocks me from Saka and Bradley has Chelsea in 35. But Diaz feels meh as I've got 3 Palace attack. I mean, Bradley against Chelsea away is fine as long as Trent isn't back by then. But I guess we don't know that Trent could be back by that stage. So, yeah, Ruben Diaz is fine, Taylor. I agree it's a little bit meh considering you want him to essentially blank. But it's not awful. Rusty says, bench boost 33 with Timber, Murillo, Areola, Saka. Yeah, that's a pretty decent bench boost, 33, mate. I like that. Right, sorry, received an email, just wanted to check. Marino, Saka, Gvardiol going with Rogers already. One of those 3, probably Marino, then Gvardiol, then Saka. Isaac says, if you go Saka to Asensio, what's your plan with Villa's double then? I wouldn't go Saka to Asensio. I would go Foden to Asensio. I guess you wouldn't do Isaac to Watkins in that case. I'm not selling Isaac for Watkins in most situations. I just don't have the transfers. Now, I'm not that convinced by Watkins. My plan as of right now is my next 3 transfers to be Gabriel to Bradley, Burn to Kivior would be next week, and then Murphy to Rogers. So my bench boost in 33, I can actually show you quickly now. Sorry for the lag, by the way, guys. Again, hopefully the audio is coming through fine. My plan, hopefully it's saved here on Fantasy Football Hub. As always, if you want to get 30% off of Hub, link down below. This is my plan for 33. My bench boost will be Areola against Southampton, Isak against Villa away, Konsa against City and Newcastle, and then Bradley against Leicester. That's the planned team for Game Week 33 as things stand. So I would have 10 doublers in the starting 11, 1 doubler on the bench. I'm obviously not going to bench Salah, so he's the single game week player. Foden and Saka, I know are slight issues, but I'll just play them anyway. You could even argue that maybe Isak over Foden would be better, and that would be the more realistic bench boost. But yeah, it looks strongish, but that's the plan. So I probably won't sell Isak to Watkins anyway. Sorry, where was I? Shaunax says, no transfers. Bench boost this. So, in terms of risks in your starting 11, I love the Mateta captain, by the way, very cheeky. Risks in your starting 11, there aren't any, are there? Sar, Asensio, Milenkovic, Konsa. Konsa's the only risk then on your bench. Yeah, that's a very strong bench boost, Shaunak. I like that a lot, actually. I would bench boost that for sure. Denise says, wildcard in 34. Okay, when do I bench boost 36 or 30, 33, 36. No backup goalie. Have 4 double game week players as it stands in 33. And we'll have 1 free transfer before 30. Yeah, I would bench boost 36, Denise. Absolutely. Because your wild card to set up for it, you'll have a backup goalkeeper at that stage. I would absolutely bench boost. You can even bench boost 35, by the way. But yeah, I would bench boost after your wild card, Denise. Josh says, good morning, Ross. Start one of Saka/Rogers or play Gvardiol in a back 4, even though I have 3 Palace players. I'd still play Gvardiol in a back 4. I'd still play Gvardiol, Josh, because unless you think Saka and Rodgers have a good chance of starting, then start the one that you think has a good chance of starting. Yi Bin NG says, good day, Ross. Saka and Gabriel to Saliba and Marino. Bench boost 33. If you go ahead with this, would you bench Marino or Rodgers and Gvardiol or Saliba? I would start Marino and Saliba if that was me. But oh, you're on bench boost 33. Okay, sorry. No, I wouldn't sell Saka for Marino. Sorry, I've just actually properly read what you've said. I wouldn't sell Saka for Marino. I would sell, if you can't afford to do Gabriel to Saliba, I would do Gabriel to Kivior if you desperately want an Arsenal defender. Or just go for someone like Conor Bradley instead. Skreza says, start one of Saka, Savinho, Kirkes, Milenkovic. I would start Savinho probably there. Tell Manny to sort his life out. Manny does not want to be nice to us, does he? Hi, mate. Thoughts on Matoma to Savinho? Have Rodgers. Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Tafan with the huge super chat. Sorry, my friend. I've only just seen that. What a man. Very generous. Says, ranked top 4K currently. You're having a cracking season, aren't you? Jesus. top 4K. Got 2 free transfers going into this week. Selling Foden, buying Asensio, benching Saka. That's the plan. Sounds like a great plan, mate. I really am jealous of people that are buying Asensio. And listen, I could buy Asensio. I just know that my bench boost next week is going to be a lot worse. Or not a lot worse, but quite a bit worse if I make that move. You know? Or it means that I have to take a hit. I'm still tempted. But I think I'm going to go for Bradley instead. But I hope Asensio goes big for you, mate. I hope Asensio goes big for you. Raya, Rodgers, Milenkovic, Gvardiol, bench boost, or triple captain Isak? I'd bench boost. That's a bench boost. Yeah, I like that. Bench boost it. Jack says, is it worth bringing in someone for Gabriel this week, even if they won't start in my team? If they're not going to start in your team, assuming you've got a bit of bench cover anyway, no, I probably wouldn't, because again, there's no value. Like, it's not like you're going to be massively priced out of that kind of move. I would just wait until game week 33, probably. For me, I'm going to make the move because I'm probably going to end up starting Bradley. But if you're not starting Bradley, there's no benefit, I don't think, to making the move now. Shanna says, okay, we'll bench Saka. Is it worth doing Elanga to Rodgers? Not this week, no, I'd just start Elanga. Next week, yes. What changes would you make if you were on a wild card right now? I wouldn't have Foden. I wouldn't have Gabriel. I would probably have, instead of Foden, I'd probably have Rodgers. Instead of Gabriel, I would probably have Kivior or Saliba. And I might start with Palmer and then move to Saka. But otherwise, I don't think my team would be drastically different on a wildcard. Who wins in a Royal Rumble? Raptor, Focal, Andy, or Harry? My money is on Focal. Looks like a scrapper. Well, I think Focal is the shortest of the 4 of us. Andy and Harry are both taller than me. Harry's quite skinny, though, isn't he? I feel like I could beat up Harry. I could take Focal. I reckon Andy. I reckon Andy would win. I reckon I would be second. I'd say Focal third and Harry fourth. Harry's far too kind and far too light as well. Like he's not got much meat on him, Harry. I'd say it would be myself and Andy in the final if we were doing a Royal Rumble. What do you think, chat? Who would win in a Royal Rumble? Ben says, hi Ross, start Gvardiol or Saliba? I think Saliba slightly, but because you've got Raya in goal, maybe Gvardiol. But as you say, double Palace attack, maybe you just back that Palace are going to score. I think in isolation, I prefer Saliba to Gvardiol. Also have Saka benched for Asensio. Great. Absolutely the correct decision. Yeah, that looks nice, Ben. I'm very jealous of people that have a Villa player in their team that they think is going to start. I'm very jealous. Jim says, Palmer to Eze and start Marino or Saka. Palmer to Eze and start Marino or Saka. I would start Marino and I wouldn't do Palmer to Eze. No, I'll just keep Palmer. I think Palmer could easily outscore the doublers this week with Ipswich. Hi, Ross. Start Saka or in Burmo. Thank you. I would start in Burmo. Will of its own says, hi, perfect. So throwing the triple captain on Isak this week. Question, play Saka or Savinho? Savinho. I would go Savinho. Also, have a lovely weekend with Mrs. Pickle. Good luck, everyone. Thank you very much, my friend. Yeah, I like triple captain, and I would go Savinho over Saka. Right, let's read out what's going on in this poll then. Wow, lots of chips in play. So currently, I've just lost that. 53%, no, 63%. 63% of people are playing a chip this week. 11% are on bench boost. 40% are on triple captain. I'm expecting Isak's ownership to probably be over 200%, you know. And then 12% are playing the assistant manager or wildcard. I reckon most of those are probably playing the assistant manager. So yeah, lots of people are playing a chip this week. Is Pickle bench boosting? Yeah, I think so. Khan says, at my wit's end, you've given me your team. Which manager and player transfer? Sorry. Question 1, which manager and player transfer? Question 2, is Emery an option? Emery's not a bad option if you want to keep him for the next 2 weeks. So you've got... Okay, so you've got your... I would probably do like Munoz to Bradley and play the assistant manager on Glasner. However, I do think that Emery is great if you want to keep your triple Palace, because you get Southampton this week, you'd expect them to win, then the double next week. I don't think you'll get table bonus, though, for either of them. I would probably sell Munoz to Bradley and go Glasner assistant manager Khan. But if you want to go Emery, I think he's probably your second best option there. Holly says, hey, Ross, love the stream. Mine and my boyfriend's Saturday morning ritual. Big love to you and your boyfriend, Holly. Thank you for the support. Bench boost 32. Okay, your team is Verbruggen, Rashford, Konate, Milenkovic, but you do have Saka. Bench boost 33 would include Murphy and Burm. So your 2 minutes risks, Holly, are Rashford and Saka. You'd expect Rashford to get minutes off the bench. Saka probably will as well. Verbruggen, Konate, Milenkovic look really good. I would bench boost 32, Holly, but yeah, you do obviously run the risk that two of your players there might not get any minutes. But that looks, considering Verbruggen, Konate, Milenkovic all look so good, I'd go for it. No triple captain Isak for you. I've already used my triple captain very badly at the start of the season in Game Week 9. Start Palmer or Marmoush. I'd start both of them, but if it's a straight shootout, it's definitely Palmer. Raya or Emmy, looking at your predictions. Yeah, I've said pretty consistently, I think I would start Raya ahead of Emmy Martinez, unless you've got Saliba and you want to just diversify and spread the risk a bit, then go for Emmy. John Starr, thank you for being a Raptor 2 member, I appreciate it. Debs says, hi, play 2 of Saka, Alanga, Gvardiol, Milenkovic. I'd probably play it safe and play Gvardiol, Milenkovic, because you know they'll start. Naomi says, triple captain Mateta over Isak. Chasing 70 points. Yeah, Naomi, I think if you're chasing 70 points, captain Mateta, I'd go for it. Is it really obvious Saka will be benched? Is it not really obvious? No, I don't think it's really obvious. I think he's more likely to be benched, and that's why I'm probably not going to have him in my team. I don't think it's really likely, though. Apparently went bald. I look like the Big Show. Oh, okay. Are you quite a big man then, Sim? I was like, what are you talking about? You'd win. Okay. Apparently went bald. I look like the Big Show. That's... to be fair, I'm not far off after a bulk. Joseph Stack says, on my last message, start Kirkes or Milenkovic. Milenkovic. I might make my transfer. Do you know what I'm actually going to do very briefly, chat? I think I'm going to make the transfer. So I'm going to get my team set up as it would be, so that if I make the transfer a little bit last minute, I don't have to worry about the benching stuff. So I want to get it looking nice and neat, though, you know? I want that there, and I want you there. I want you there. So you want your team to be as aesthetically pleasing as you can. And listen, a 4-3-3 is not an aesthetically pleasing formation, but you win some, you lose some. Okay, chat, I need your help. I'm going to sell Gabriel to Bradley, and this will be the starting 11. What order does the bench go in? I think Foden goes third sub unless we get a leak that he starts. So basically, spam in the chat right now. Who would you start? Sorry, who would you have first sub? So who would you have first sub, Saka or Konsa? Who would you have first sub, Saka or Konsa? I'm leaning towards having it that way right now. Saka. Oh, wow. Everyone says Saka. Saka. Oh, wow. Okay. Should I listen to you guys? Do you know what? I'm just going to listen to you guys. Hopefully I won't need it, but if I do, and I swear, if Konsa gets a 15-pointer, I'll be best pleased. I suppose Konsa's ceiling is quite low, right? I'm going to leave it like that for a little bit, just in case. I'll probably wait until about 10 minutes before the deadline to make the Bradley move, just in case we get news that Foden starts. So do you think I've got it about right now then, chat, like that, yeah? Do you think I've got that about right? Yeah. Why not Saliba? I actually can't afford Gabriel to Saliba. If I could, I probably would. I could do Kivior, but I think I'll do Kivior next week anyway. So I think this week I'll go for Bradley, and next week I'll do Kivior. Dennis says, start Saka or Rodgers, by the way. I would go Rodgers just about. Letting my team stand and we'll bench boost next week with 3 free transfers. Going with the same team as you this week, much love. Big love, my man. I would probably start Rodgers, yeah, just about ahead of Saka, but I think that's very close. Can you not do a triple captain poll? Nah, because everyone's going to say Isak, and it'll be like 10% will vote other. I think Mateta is better than Murphy, personally. Rinsa says, no chip this week. Triple captain Salah next week. Free hit 34, bench boost 36. Looks good. Like it. Start Minter or Rodgers. I'd go Minter. Salah Palmer Sarr. Yeah, I'd go Minter. I think he's good for this week. Sam says, dear Egg, why Bradley? Trent back 35, need bench boost 36. Well, if you need to bench boost 36, then don't go Bradley. I'm bench boosting 33, and he's got Leicester. So he's got West Ham this week, Leicester next week. So I just think the upside is there over the coming game weeks, you know? And you never know, Trent might not be back. Trent might not be back in 35. And also, if Trent does go to Madrid, which I still don't know the answer to, it might be that Bradley continues to start ahead of him. Why not? I mean, I expect Trent to get minutes, but you never know. Start one of Saka, Konsa, Foden, and Timber. Start one. Saka, probably those options. Hatik says, hi Ross, on wildcard, showed the team earlier. Thinking Konsa to Kivior, solid option. Other thought is Eze to Sarr and Konsa to Saliba. Which seems better? I think Eze to Sarr and Konsa to Saliba sounds a bit better, you know. Kivior and Eze or Sarr and Saliba? I think Sarr and Saliba is safer for minutes. It depends how much better you think Eze is than Sarr. Bench Gvardiol or Konsa / Kivior. I think if you go for an Arsenal defender, I'd start them. And then Rodgers or Marmoush, I'd start Marmoush and bench Rodgers. Nemanja with the super chat. Thank you, Nemanja. Good to see you as always. Hey, mate, love from Oz. Wildcard left. When's the best time to use it? Gunning for number 1 in my mini league. 2,025 points versus me in third on 2004. Okay, so there's not a lot in it. When's the best time to use the wildcard? Your team, okay, so your team doesn't need a wildcard now. I'd say 35. If you can get through to 35, I'd wait until 35. If you've not got your free hit left, you might end up having to wildcard 34 to just make sure that your team's not too bad for 34. But yeah, it's a lovely teammate. To have that team with the wildcard left, you're in a really good position. Gvardiol and Raya or Saliba and Sells? That's actually a tough one, isn't it? Saliba and Sells, I think. Saka or Semenyo, mate, and why? Semenyo, because he'll definitely start. Saka might not. It's as simple as that. If I knew both were starting, I'd obviously say Saka, but we don't. Hello, Raptor. Hello, Alex B. Good to see you. I will bench boost 33, free at 34, and I still have triple captain. Should I triple captain today or 35, 36? I need big points because I'm 300k. You could save it till 36, but as I discussed in yesterday's video, I just don't know that you'll definitely have a better opportunity to use it. So I would probably triple captain this week if you have the triple captain. Unless you're planning to play the bench boost this week, I would just hit the triple captain. Start 2 of Marmoush, Eva Nilsson, Asensio. I think... Wow, that's a tough one. I'd go Marmoush and Asensio, but I hate benching Eva Nilsson. I'd definitely start Asensio because he's got the best fixture. Ross says, start Saliba, Munoz and Savinho, bench Gvardiol and Saka. Any changes? Looks good to me, mate. Looks good to me. Dean says, Raya or Martinez? I'd go Raya. And Savinho or Asensio? I'd go Asensio. Ross, I love you. I love you too. Thanks for the love. Oh, I really... Any chance Foden plays? There's a small chance, and that's why I'm hesitant to make my move now, because if he does, then I don't need to make the move. I've got Gabriel in the starting 11 because I plan on selling Gabriel for Bradley if you've just joined the stream. By the way, if you've just joined the stream, please do make sure to subscribe. Lots more content coming for the remainder of the season and big upgrades to the stream setup, graphics, everything also planned for next season. So if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe and hit that like button as well. But if you have just joined the stream, I'm planning on selling Gabriel to Bradley, and so I've just set it up in my starting 11 in that way. I don't have to... So yeah, Gabriel to Bradley is the plan. Oh, I can't wait to move and hopefully get better internet. A little bit laggy, mate. Yep. Very, very laggy, mate. Sadly. Laggy, laggy, laggy. Why is he lagging? You tell me. Computer. My audio should be fine, though. My audio should be coming through all okay. It fixes itself very quickly anyway. So many people overlooking Bradley. I don't know. He's just come back from injury. I think he's only started 2 Premier League games this season, so it is a risk, but I think he's got high upside, right? I'm bench boosting next week, and he's got Leicester away on the bench boost. Like, he's a really nice player to have if you're bench boosting next week. Bring in Bradley or Saliba for Guardiola or Roll. I think if you can afford Saliba, I'd go Saliba. Hi, Ross. Alanga or Rodgers to start with Mo? I think Alanga. Start Savinho or Eze. Definitely Eze. Definitely Eze. Have Gabriel. Bench boost. You can bench boost, but you need to sell Gabriel if you bench boost, mate. Hams is, hi, Ross. Hope your week's gone well. Can you explain why we aren't bench boosting this week? I have Saliba and Savinho instead of Gabriel and Foden. Well, I mean, if you've got Gabriel and Saliba and Savinho rather than Gabriel and Foden, you've got 2 fewer issues than I do. So you could then sell Areola, but then you've still got Saka and Konsa who are doubts, right? I just think there are lots of doubts this week. Unless you've only got 1 doubt or no doubts, it is a bit of a risk playing the bench boost. But for a lot of people, they've set up for it. I've not set up for a bench boost this week because I've got Areola against Liverpool. Paul says, bench 1 of Saka, Saliba, Guardiola. I would bench probably Saka. Avril says, why Guardiola over Konsa? Isn't Southampton way better for clean sheet odds? I think there's a chance Konsa's benched. Guardiola, I would be very, very surprised if he's benched. Is Murphy a differential captain if I'm chasing someone in my private league? Murphy is definitely differential. It depends how far you're chasing, how many points you've got to make up. I still think Isak is the standout captain. But if you want to go for Murphy or Mateta, I think they're absolutely fine options. Who to start / bench? Martinez, Raya, Munoz, Gvardiol, Trippier, Konsa, Gabriel, Salah, Palmer, Sarr, Murphy, Savinho, Isak, Marmoush, Mateta. I would bench Martinez, Konsa, Gabriel. And then in terms of your attackers, it's probably Savinho that you have to bench. But I don't love that. But you've got such a strong team. I mean, you could bench boost this week. You just have to sell. You just have to sell Gabriel. Gabriel to Saliba, bench boost. I don't hate that. Gabriel to Saliba and bench boost is probably what I'd do with that team. Hi, Ross. Start 2 of Saka, Rashford, Marino. Marino and Rashford, probably. Jonathan says, would you transfer in Asensio for Saka or Marino for a -4 hit? I'm playing my bench boost this weekend. Probably not, no. Probably not. Because it's a move that you'd probably not want then in 33. Like, I'd rather have Marino and Saka in 33. So you're taking a -4 to improve your bench boost, maybe, slightly, but it's not improving your team for 33. Raya / sells and Milan / Saliba .combo. Love the channel. I don't know what you're asking there. Oh, Milenkovic. Oh, I see. I would probably go Raya and Milenkovic because Milenkovic has more goal threat than Saliba. I was like, who's Milan? Milenkovic, okay. Craig says, chase 50 points. Captain Mateta over Isak. Both own Isak. Yeah, if you're chasing 50 points, you might have to start making decisions like captaining Mateta. But obviously, if that goes badly, it's going to be more than 50 points. Blicky94 says, hi, mate. Hope you're well. I'm well, thank you. Need to start 2 of Rodgers, Savinho, Saka. I would go Rodgers and Savinho. Triple captain chip on Isak. If Hal lied, I'm rushing him. I think Savinho's okay. I think Isak's fine. I would start Rodgers and Savinho. Hey, Ross, start 2 of Marino, Saka, Rashford. Marino and Rashford. Henry says, bench boost, but own Saka, Timber, Rogers. Would you still play? No, I wouldn't. That's 3 issues then. I don't think that's worth it. AKU says, hi, Ross. Who do you think of Foden and Gabriel to Bradley and Palmer? I'm on bench boost 33. I don't hate it, but then Foden might, if he plays in 33, be slightly better than Palmer. But Palmer and Bradley do feel better than Foden and Gabriel. I could do something similar, you know. I've not even considered that. Foden to Palmer. Also, good luck this week, mate. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support. Is that something I should do, chat? We'll discuss that in a second. Hi, Ross. You've given me a good idea there, AKU. Hi, Ross. Loving the content. Start Saka or Bowen? Bowen. Saka to Palmer for bench boost 32, then reverse it next week. I don't know. I'd want to use 2 transfers for that. Don't know how I feel about that. Daniel says, hey, mate, would you change anything in my team? Bench is looking to triple captain this week. So your bench is Saka, Guardiola, Konsa. Starting 11 looks really strong. No, mate. Yeah, triple captain looks good, and I think you've got that. I think you've got that benching decision spot on. I might have Guardiola ahead of Saka on the bench, so I might switch those two just because you know Guardiola will start. But otherwise, Daniel, it looks good. The Italian Stallions has seen a lot of people starting Raya over Martinez. What are your thoughts on that? Because surely Martinez's fixture is better for a clean sheet. I think Raya's at home. Arsenal are a better defence, and we're expecting both teams to rotate, but defensively, we're expecting Aston Villa to rotate a lot more than Arsenal. Like, I think Arsenal's back line will be like Ben White, Kivior, Saliba. I don't know who at left back, but their back line should be a little bit less rotated. So I don't think the clean sheets are that much higher for Martins, if at all. So I think that's why people are looking at starting Raya. Hi, Ross. Play one of Saka, Guardiola, Savinho. Emin Chuckster says, hi, Ross. Took a trip from Czechia to see my beloved Chelsea this week, so I hope to see some good football. I hope you do as well, although I won't have Palmer, so I hope you have some terrible football and that they lose. Playing bench boost this week. Verbruggen, Konsa, Savinho, Guardiola. What do you think? Love it, mate. Really nice bench boost. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I hope Chelsea win for you. I do. If you've made that effort, seeing as you're always so supportive, I'll let you have a Chelsea win. Just preferably Palmer doesn't get involved. Chris says, bench boost 32, Raya, Rogers, Saliba, Konsa. Or bench boost 33, Pope, Isak, Kanate, Burn. I'd actually be tempted by 33. I just think you've got 2 issues there on the bench. You need I think bench boost 33 just about, Chris, you know. Cancelled says, start Vardiol or double up with Nico Williams. I'd be tempted to start Nico Williams ahead of Guardiola. My team is Raya, Milenkovic, Munoz, Sarr, Murphy, Salah, Palmer, Mateta, Isak captain, Marmouche, Howe assistant manager, 2.5k overall rank. It's a great overall rank and it's a great team. Yeah, I mean, nothing to add other than, I would probably just about start Nico Williams ahead of Guardiola. When are you planning on playing triple captain? I've already played it. I've already played the triple captain. Talk me out of Captain Sarr and assistant manager Glasner. I mean, you're all in on Palace at that stage. I'm not going to talk you out of it. All I will say on Ismail Assar, he's not on penalties and he's not on set pieces. It's why I would never captain someone like Ismail Assar. I want an extra route to points, at least 1, preferably 2. Foden to Asensio. Don't mind it. Bench is Saka, Gabriel, Kilman. Yeah, I don't mind it. When do you plan to triple captain? Again, I've already used it, sadly. Kieran says, hi, Ross. Chasing 54 points. Mateta or Isak, captain? 54, maybe Mateta. Maybe you have to start taking some risks. Glasner, assistant manager, active too. Also, any City team news. If you've got the assistant manager active, maybe you don't need to worry about chasing as much because the assistant manager should gain you. No, I haven't seen any early City team news at the moment. Italian Stallion says, I'm on wildcard. Start 2 of Rogers, Marmouche, and Asensio. Planning bench boost 33. I used wildcard to build a team for bench boost next game week. Yes, I like the plan. I would start Marmouche and Asensio. Here for FPL says, hey, Ross, play Raya versus Emmy. Raya. Trina says, hi, Ross. Should I bench boost? 1 free transfer and 3.5 in the bank. Not sure if I should transfer. Okay, so Pope Henderson, already great for a bench boost. Saliba, Munoz, Burn, Milenkovic, Kirkez, Alanga. Yeah, that's a bench boost. Yeah. Oh, Saka and Rodgers, though. I think I would still probably bench boost it because it's really well set up outside of that. Alanga's a risk as well, though. Alanga, Saka, and Rodgers all a risk. I think I would still bench boost it, but if you get really unlucky and all three of those don't play, you're basically bench boosting a goalkeeper. So it is a risk, but it's probably a risk I would take, Trina, because if they all start, or two of them start, it's great. Or if they get points off the bench, of course. Hi, Ross. Bench Saliba, Gvardiol, or Konsa? I'd bench Konsa. Start Gvardiol or Bradley? I'd start Bradley. Good morning, sir. Start Bowen or Saka? I'd start Bowen. Would you play Luka Dean or Gvardiol? I'd play Gvardiol because I don't think Luka Dean starts. I think it'll be Maatsen. Shaunak says, thanks as always, Ross. By the way, if you are enjoying the stream, smash that like button. I really do appreciate it. Hit that like and make sure to subscribe. Subscribing is more important than liking if you're only going to do one thing. Shaunak says, thanks as always, Ross. Will you be staying post-deadline? For like 10, 15 minutes, yes. Then I have a train to catch. So we'll probably wait for the Man City team news, and I'll leave at 11:15. That's the plan at the moment. But yeah, so maybe share it. If not, send me... Oh no, you wanted to share with the stream. Yes, do that. Yeah, sure. A-Trax says, should I captain Isak this week? I also have bench boost remaining and will have 3 free transfers for bench boost in Gameweek 33. Yeah, sounds good. Triple captain, bench boost next week. I like it. Save those transfers. Get those transfers saved. I've got a bench of Sells, Saka, Konsa, Saliba. Should I bench boost? Sells, Saka, Konsa, Saliba. That's borderline. If you think Saka or Konsa start, yes. If you think both are benched, no. Is the best way I can explain that, Xander. Ram says, start Palmer or Savinho? Palmer. Hi, Ross. Should I do Savio/Saka to Eze/Gordon for a hit? Free hit in 33, wildcard in 35. Thanks, mate. If you're on free hit 33, yes, I would buy. Because Gordon, not Gordon, though. I'd go Murphy. If you've already got Murphy, I'd go Barnes ahead of Gordon. So yeah, I like Eze and Murphy or Eze and Barnes. I don't know about Gordon, because I just don't think Gordon starts both this week. Jamie says, good morning, Ross. Start Rodgers, Saka, or Williams? I'd start Williams. MJM says, good morning, Ross. Good morning, MJM. I'm moving Potter to Glasner, but I have to do Munoz to a 5.4 defender. I own 3 Newcastle with Burn, Gabriel, Gvardiol, Williams. I like Estepinian as an option. Good luck. Thank you very much. It depends on when you're planning the bench boost, if you are at all. If you're bench boost 33, I wouldn't go Estu, I'd go Bradley. If you've not got the bench boost, yeah, I do like Estepinian. Oh, you can't bench boost 33, can you? Because you've got Glasner assistant manager. Yeah, Estepinian in that case is a nice option. Should start this week against Leicester. Decent fixtures overall. A little bit of attacking threat. Dennis, give me your team. Said, thinking rolling going 3 free transfers for bench boost 33. Yeah. No issues with me. You got a couple of risks in there, like Rodgers, you're having to start, but could get good minutes. Kirkez on the bench is a bit of cover along with Saka. Yeah, looks good to me. I'd roll. Same strategy as me, mate. Jack says, hi, Ross. Start 2 of Rodgers, Bowen, Saka, Konsa. I would start Rodgers and Bowen, probably. There. Timber or Saka? Saka. Omar says, cheers, mate. Have Raya, Livramento, Timber, Gvardiol, Munoz, Konsa, Salah and Burmo, Sar, Murphy, Saka, and your attack. 5 free transfers. Planning bench boost 33. Transfer tip. Okay, so you need to make a transfer this week because you don't want to burn it. Cool. Maybe Mbermo to Asensio. You could maybe afford to take a little bit of a punt there. Yeah, maybe Mbermo to Asensio, something like that. I don't think you need a transfer, but you might as well make one. It depends who your backup goalkeeper is. If not, maybe use it on a backup goalkeeper or a bench position. You're in a position where you don't need a transfer, so just use the one, get to 5 next week, and then bench boost. Assistant manager Howe or Glasner this week? If you're chasing Glasner, if you want to protect Howe. Start Kivior or Gvardiol. I have Triple Palace. Kivior probably in that case. Any Man City team leaks? No, I've not seen anything. I'm going to wait a couple more minutes, then I'll make my transfer. Let me just have a quick gander on Twitter. I'm having a cheeky gander to see if I can find any early Man City team news. Yeah, AKU in the chat said something that was a little bit interesting, right? So, again, sorry for any lag. Hopefully my audio is fine. So, I want to do Gabrielle to Bradley, right? Does that open up the funds for me, or can I not afford it? Tell me I can't afford it. Don't tempt me. I don't think I can I? Yeah, thank. I'm 0.1 off being able to do Palmer in for Foden. Okay. I think I'm going to make this move then. I'm just going to wait a little bit longer in case we get something. Because obviously, like I say, if I found out randomly that Foden was starting, then I might not make the move. Triple Captain Isaac, yeah, for everyone that is worrying or thinking of doing it or not doing it, I would probably do it. I'm not doing it because I've already used it. It's not because I think it's bad. I don't have it available. By the way, if you're one of the 7,000 people watching right now that is not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do consider subscribing. If you've just joined, my plan as of right now is to do Gabrielle to Bradley. I'm just waiting to see if we get any early Man City team news. Don't give up on Phil. I'm not giving up on him. I'm not selling him. He's just going to be on the bench. Going to be on the bench. Do Gordon to Murphy or stick with him? I'm not going to lie. If I had Gordon, I'd sell for Murphy, yeah. Why Bradley over Kivior this week for Gabrielle? I just think Bradley's got a higher ceiling. Bradley's got a higher ceiling, hasn't he? I'm starting Munoz and Livramento. Who should be my third defender? Saliba or Van Dijk or Gvardiol this game week? And still really thinking on Martinez Raya. I would go Raya and then rather than Saliba, go Van Dijk. Like Raya and Van Dijk. Or Martinez and Saliba. Raya and Van Dijk or Martinez and Saliba. Rodgers to Asensio. They will be fourth on the bench boost of Sells, Gvardiol, Williams. Is it worth the transfer? We'll keep Asensio for 33. The thing is, beyond 32, Rodgers is just better, so I'll say no. But Asensio this week will do much better than Rodgers, I'd imagine, because I think he'll play more minutes. But I just think from 33 onwards, you just prefer to have Rodgers. Play one of Saka, Saliba, Gvardiol, Konsa, Savinho. Savinho, probably. Areola and Saliba / Bruno in the 11, or get Raya and Asensio for a -8. If no hits, then which two to play out of Gvardiol, Saliba, Bruno? Triple captain this week, bench boost next week. So Areola and Saliba / Bruno in the 11, or get Raya and Asensio for a -8. I don't think I'm taking -8. If no hits, which two to play out of Gvardiol, Saliba, Bruno? Triple captain this week, bench boost next. I would say play Saliba and Bruno. Don't take the hits. Bench boost next week, Pratik. Do Gordon to... I did that one. Start Timber or transfer to Bradley. I would keep Timber, but I wouldn't start him. I'd start someone else because I don't think Timber will start. Areola, Saka, Rodgers, Konsa. Stupid to bench boost this week. Areola, Saka, Rodgers, Konsa. Yeah, that's not a bench boost. That's not a bench boost. You've got 3 minutes risks in Areola against Liverpool. Don't bench boost. Will Bradley start? I think so. I hope so. Why Bradley? Why Bradley? Why Bradley is all I'm getting in the chat. Because he's got high upside when he starts. And he's got Leicester next week on the bench boost. No trustworthy team leaks. There is a leak going around that Savinho and Gvardiol start, but it's not someone that I trust enough to put too much weighting into it. I'll probably wait until it hits 5 minutes and then I'll go Bradley. Savinho benched according to @Inside City. Let me check. That's not even an account. I've just searched for that account and it doesn't exist. Have you got the handle wrong? I can't even see an account that says that, so I'm going to just ignore that then. No trustworthy team leaks as of now. Are you benching Gvardiol? No, I'm probably starting Gvardiol. Apparently, Foden is a doubt due to an injury that he had against United, is what Pep Guardiola said in the press conference. So, are you bench boosting this week? No. Do you know what? This is a move I think I want to make anyway. I'm just going to go for it. Right, that's how it is for now. If we get a leak that Foden starts, I will start Foden ahead of Gvardiol probably, if we get a leak that Foden starts. Let me just take a screenshot of that. Can we see a team, please? There you go. That's the team as things stand. I literally have no info on Saka or Foden. I just, obviously, Saka's minutes haven't been great. He came off with a slight knock against Real Madrid. And Foden apparently is a doubt. That's it. If anyone sees anything, let me know. Have you played the triple captain? Yes, played the triple captain. Why start Gvardiol against Triple Palace? Who do I start instead? Saka and Konsa and Foden are all doubts for minutes. Tony said Foden and Kusanov are benched on his Patreon. Okay. Where is everyone getting the no Savinho? Apparently Foden and Kusanov are benched. I've seen a few people say that. I'm not sure on Savinho. I don't have his Patreon, so I can't check. Okay, I've just had it confirmed that Foden, according to the leaks, Foden is not going to play. Apparently Savinho might not be starting, but they don't know. Savinho sounds like Savinho sounds like a slight risk. Maybe I wouldn't start Savinho then. The news that I've just got is that Foden's not playing. Gvardiol starts. Savinho, late decision. Dennis says Gabriel for Bradley and 4-3-3 and bench Rodgers/Saka. If it's for free, I don't hate it. Like I've done that, but equally you could just play Rodgers or Saka. That's absolutely fine. Bench 2 of Saliba, Gvardiol, Konsa, have Raya. I'd bench Gvardiol and Konsa because it sounds like Gvardiol's playing centre back, right? If Kushanov's out, then Gvardiol's not going to start at left back. So his attacking return is limited. You've got just under 2 minutes until the deadline. Make sure you get those teams locked in. I'm happy with my team. Not happy with my team, but happy with my decisions. Foden last on the bench. Saka first bench because if he does start or if he gets minutes, he could always do damage. And then I've got Bradley in the starting 11. I think that's the best decision for my team this week. Just under 2 minutes until the deadline. Make sure that you like and subscribe as well. I do appreciate it. Bench 2 of Saliba, Gvardiol. I did that one, didn't I? I have Savinho. Should I sell now for Gabriel? Sorry, should I sell now Gabriel for Bradley and do a back four like you? Also got Saka and Konsa on the bench. I don't know. Apparently on Savinho, there's a late decision is going to be made as to whether Savinho starts. I don't even know what that means, but that's what has been said in the league. Maybe it's worth doing it, but then if Savinho starts, he's great. Yeah, maybe I would do it, Lewis. Start Bradley or Gvardiol. I think Bradley over Gvardiol, personally. I think Bradley over Gvardiol, personally. Why are you not playing triple captain? I've already played it. You've got under 30 seconds till the deadline. Just get your teams locked in. Just get your teams locked in. Too late to ask questions. Just get those teams locked in. Can't wait to see people's 30-point bench. I feel like my bench might have points on. Although if Foden's out completely at Ariel against Liverpool, I don't think it'll be too bad. Start Saliba or Saka? I'd start Saliba, personally. We are locked. Can you imagine if Foden starts now that he's third on my bench? Third on my bench. Can you imagine? Right, we're done. Let me tweet out my team. Chris Harris says dog farts. Thank you, Chris, as always. Perfect timing. Game week 32 team. Nope. Nope. Yep. I'm pretty scared. Right. Gabriel to Bradley. And then good luck. Yeah, let's see what happens. Sorry about the Savinho stuff. So the leak apparently said that they were like very confident, then it just said like Savinho, who knows? So that was like where I was like, oh, if they were sure, then they would have just said Savinho starts. Right, post. Is my train still on time today? Yeah, I'm getting a train in a little bit. What I'm actually going to... Oh, no, cancelled. What? Wait, what? Why is my train being cancelled? No. What does it mean cancelled? Why has this happened to me? My trains get cancelled all the time. Which bit has been cancelled? That's a nightmare. Oh, I'm going to have to get an earlier train, which means I'm going to have to leave now, chat. I love you all very much. I'm sorry, I was going to stay till the things, but I'm going to have to get an earlier train, which means I need to leave in like 10 minutes. So, yeah. I love you all very much. Sorry I can't stick around. I would have stuck around. The plan was to stick around, but I've got an hour head off straight away. So I love you all very much. Have a fantastic weekend. I will be back with transfer plans on Sunday or Monday. Let's see. But yeah, there'll be plenty more content, and I love you all very much. See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.